My name is James Rowlands, and in 2015 I started the WNR podcast with my friend
Dan White. And for nearly 5 years we have brought you the very best of the network, but it's time for a change.
Now we don't just confine ourselves to Vinnie Mac, bringing you AEW, Impact, NJPW, and all the latest from the British wrestling scene.
But we will still bring you all of our old favourites, including NXT and, like last night, another live takeover.
Tonight we bring you the Survivor Series pre-show. The WNR are live. So yes, hello, Roland. And as always, I'm joined by
Dan White.
And like I say, we are live against the Survivor Series. But what a night last night takeover was, Dan, eh?
Absolutely brilliant. There was not a weak match on the whole card. Definitely worth the watch. Enjoyed it thoroughly. Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt. Before we do anything, let's do the alternate intro. And I saw Rocket Man a few weeks ago, so I've been doing Elton John stuff. And this time, Dan, I thought it was one that we could do together on the live show. What do you reckon?
Go for it.
Go for it. All right. I'm not done if I can see it, but Dan, don't go breaking my heart.
I couldn't if I tried.
Honey, if I get restless.
Baby, you're not that kind.
No, don't go breaking my heart.
You take the weight off of me.
Oh, honey, when you knock on my door.
Ooh, I gave you my key.
Ooh, nobody knows it.
When I was down.
I was your clown.
Ooh, nobody knows it.
Right from the start.
I gave you my heart.
Ooh, I gave you my heart.
So don't go breaking my heart.
I won't go breaking your heart.
Don't go breaking my heart.
That sounded really threatening towards the end, but that is the alternate intro. And, of course, now the proper intro.
On the show, we have all the latest news, shout-outs, along with two very special Survivor Series surprises. Of course, running through the card, but we start first with a rundown of what's been going on this week.
Yeah, and we start with Raw, and it's the 18th of November.
Well, Becky Lynch opened the show with a promo calling out Shayna Baszler. The Iconics interrupted, upset that they weren't considered for Raw Women's Survivor Series team, and Lynch challenged them to a handicap match. They accepted, but Charlotte Flair showed up anyway to make it a tag.
Well, Samoa Joe joined the commentary team for the episode as Dio Madden is still dead.
Well, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair defeated the Iconics by submission in short order when Flair and Lynch did simultaneous finishes to Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, respectively. After the match, Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir attacked Flair and Lynch. Flair and Lynch chased them out into the crowd, but were stopped by security. Lynch punched one of the security guys in the face.
Fair plays were. A Charlie Caruso interviewed Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins about their scheduled Raw Tag Team Championship match later tonight. AOP interrupted and got in Hawkins and Ryder faces and attacked them.
Go, it's good to see Authors of Pain back again.
Yeah.
Well, Humberto Carrillo defeated Carl Anderson. The Street Profits ringside to counter Luke Gallows and AJ Styles. Gallows interfered by choking Carrillo on the top rope, allowing Anderson to grab Carrillo in a small package. Montez Ford rolled them over, so Carrillo pinned Anderson.
Number 3, Bobby Lashley defeated No Way Jose. Lana revealed that she's taken out a restraining order on Rusev and that he can't come within 90 miles of her and Lashley. After the match, Lana and Lashley made out some more.
Well, Seth Rollins versus Andrade for Rollins' spot on the Raw Men's Survivor Series team. And Lucha House Party attacked Rollins and then Andrade. Rollins made the save for Andrade and they agreed to have another match sometime soon.
Well, Buddy Murphy knocked on Aleister Black's door and challenged him. Murphy walked away and Black answered the door, confused because Black is scared of my man Buddy Murphy.
Yes, because it was Aleister Black that walked away pooing himself, wasn't it? Well, Triple H arrived at the arena.
And Buddy Murphy defeated Aleister Black. Oh, no, sorry. Akira Tozawa with Murphy's Law. After the match, Murphy tried to knock on Aleister Black's door again, but Black answered and stared him down.
And it was a good job that Buddy Murphy was wearing dark trousers. Well, Eric Rowan defeated Alex Malcolm. Malcolm was a jobber, of course. R-Truth chased the Bollywood boys to the ring during the match, leading to Rowan attacking them as well. Rowan won with his Iron Claw slam. He's still carrying a mystery pet to the ring.
Ooh. And with Ryan and Hawkins injured, Randy challenged the Viking Raiders to face him in a mystery partner in the match later tonight. But going back to that mystery pet thing, do you think it could be a snake? Because we're coming up to an anniversary on that, aren't we?
Oh, that is a very good shout. I think it's a ferret.
A ferret? Well, like... I was say a few years back, Macho Man got bitten by Jake the Snake, but a ferret bite could be deadly, I suppose. We move on, and Kevin Owens versus Drew McIntyre ended without result when Triple H interrupted with NXT Styles blocking a ramp. Triple H put over Owens as a guy who doesn't fit the mould of the main roster, and T's asked him to return to NXT. That would never happen. Random Raw wrestlers attacked the NXT guys, and the Undisputed Era attacked Owens. Triple H looked visibly upset with Adam Cole. Yossi made the save, chasing the Undisputed Era into the crowd.
Yes, and we've got Humberto Carrillo facing AJ Styles for the United States Championship next week.
Yeah, can't wait. Paul Heyman made Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio at Survivor Series, a no-holds-barred match. Mysterio responded to the announcement saying he's not afraid, and he's coming for both revenge and the WWE Championship.
Well, Raw Tag Team Championship match, the Viking Raiders versus Randy Orton and a mystery partner who was Ricochet, my actual dream team. It ended in a no contest. Ricochet was Orton's mystery partner. During the match, Smackdown stars invaded the backstage area and attacked the Raw roster. Eventually, they made their way to ringside and attacked the participants in the tag match. This Raw versus Smackdown versus NXT fight to sell Survivor Series. Triple H gave Raw and Smackdown an open door to appear on NXT next Wednesday.
And as we saw, they did accept. And then we had SmackDown, and Survivor Series just minutes away, and the all-out war between Raw and SmackDown NXT has now reached boiling point.
Throwing a few more title feuds bubbling away, and this one's shaping up to be one of the best pay-per-views of the year.
So these are the 4 things we learned from Friday's show.
The X show why NXT are the MVPs of Survivor Series 2019. The problem with Survivor Series the last few years hasn't just been that Raw versus SmackDown had got a little stale.
Well, the 2 real problems were the lack of staleness or implications beyond bragging rights that barely lasted till the next week of WTV, and the ever-dissolving brand split that meant brand loyalty was meaningless anyway.
On the latter, we've now got a hard brand split between the wrestlers for the first time in what seems like forever, which gives this inter-brand warfare a bit of intimacy.
But this split is still pretty new, and with the draft still fresh in our memory, there doesn't seem to be any reason for Raw or SmackDown stars to really care about whether they bleed red or blue.
What's more, it comes on the heels of months of stars crossing brands every week, sometimes multiple times a week, and the horror of the wild card rule. So we're not quite ready to care about brand versus brand just yet.
Well, on the Formula start, any official stakes, rumble spots, mania card position, etc. up for grabs, but what we do have is NXT.
Well, NXT have everything to prove against their main roster brothers, and it's their repeated invasions and incursions that have made this year's Survivor Series build so much better than the last couple.
Well, a newer kid on the block showing they're no longer developmental, but now on proper telly, and every bit as powerful as the bigger siblings. NXT is the story of Survivor Series 2019.
And that was capped off with an old-school DX-style invasion of SmackDown led by Triple H and Shawn Michaels in an army jeep.
Well, assuming that NXT aren't completely obliterated on Sunday night, Survivor Series and its invasions will have done wonders to get these wrestlers in front of a whole new audience.
Yes, and number 2 is Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan is a defining feud for The Fiend. Bray Wyatt builds anticipation better than anyone in the WWE, having carried a WrestleMania feud with The Undertaker entirely single-handed a few years back.
Yeah, but he lost that feud, and that seemed to be the pattern for Bray. You build, talk, lose.
Well, this time around it's different. Not only has The Fiend captured the gold, Bray looks impervious once he's got the mask and somewhat very fucking annoying red lights one.
Yeah, shouldn't they be blue lights now we're on SmackDown?
I think you're right there, yeah.
You know, Brandist. He made a statement against a number of legends and beaten Seth Rollins, but now's the time for The Fiend to have this defining feud.
Well, Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan go back years and years, with the Wyatt family doing more than anyone to almost derail the Yes movement as it was gathering pace.
And if The Fiend really is here to stay, then he's here. He has to beat Daniel Bryan, and through and beyond Survivor Series, there should be a feud that defines the new Bray Wyatt one way or the other.
Number 3, Shinsuke fucking Nakamura and Sami Zayn have a sexy new WWE Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I mean, that said, you're not really fighting for belt, but there's a new belt. I mean, the Intercontinental title, Dan, what do you think of the designer? Sami Zayn was pretty happy about that coming out, wasn't he? You know,
I think it's a grower. It's one that's I think is going to grow on you. It certainly looks better than the Raw and SmackDown title belts. It's not nowhere near in the league of the NXT UK belts. It is up there though.
Yeah, I mean, the main WWE Championship and Universal titles get a lot of grief because they look awful, and so does the tag team division as well. The 24/7 title has been dismissed as a joke because it's a watch strap appearance.
One title that has always been well loved is the IC belt, with its white leather and gold standing out among all the other straps.
Yeah, and Cody Rhodes also said that when asked if they changed strap because he was the one that kind of brought it back. You told me that, actually. Cody was the one that brought it back. In fact, he said, well, no, you just need to change it sometimes for new. And you said there was another reason, which was a lot simpler than that as well.
Yeah, the main reason is because they wanted to have side plates on it, which Shinsuke Nakamura has actually got his embezzled side plates on it, which, that is a good point to it.
Yeah, well, Nakamura has slowly been returning a bit of lustre to the Intercontinental Championship on his current run, and he can do a bit more against Roderick Strong and AJ Styles at Survivor Series in their champ v champ v champ match.
And when that's all over, he needs a significant feud or two back on SmackDown to really take this new belt to the next level.
And number 4, Shayna Baszler is surely headed to Raw or SmackDown after Survivor Series 2019.
Well, don't call me Shirley, but it does look obvious, because over the last years, since its inception, we've only had one two-time NXT Women's Champion.
Well, over a 2 reign, Shayna Baszler has held the title for nearly 400 days now, just behind Asuka 510 days in the rankings.
And in this bubbling cross-brand feud with Becky Lynch and Bayley, she's more than held her own. She's been the woman to watch and the woman to beat.
On SmackDown, Bayley tried to get the jump in the NXT style with a sneak attack, but Baszler was just too strong for her.
Although Bayley had the last word, she was also the one running off by the end of the scuffle for self-preservation before Sunday's matchup.
Well, anything can happen in a triple threat match. Of course, Rhea Ripley sneaking into pin Charlotte Flair while she had Sasha Banks in the figure 8 was the top of last night's show with a case in point.
So while Baszler may not win on Sunday, she's proved that she's no less a talent than Bayley, Becky or any of the so-called main roster.
And even if NXT proves its equality or even supremacy to Raw and SmackDown, we're expecting Shayna to move on soon after the weekend. I mean, the thing basically is that she's still got to drop a title, and hopefully, with what happened last night at TakeOver, we'll see that sooner rather than later. But what were your thoughts on Raw and SmackDown this week?
I thought that was entertaining. I do like these cross-branded things and invasions. You're definitely not going to get any proper matchups throughout the night on Raw or SmackDown because one way or another someone's going to come in and something's going to happen in the match. But, this is probably the only time that it's actually acceptable and I don't mind it as much.
Yeah, I think without doubt, I think that's what we've seen. It's been for Survivor Series. I would just like to say thank you everybody for listening here tonight as you did last night as well. It's always great to be live here on the WNR podcast. We look towards these kind of big events that we have TakeOver and Survivor Series. And nothing else we like to do more as well on the live shows than with the shout-outs.
Yes, well, our first one is Ricky Madison, and why no tradition match of Survivor Series where top champs of each brand fight? Well, so it'd be Brock versus Fiend versus Cole, nowhere to be seen. Well, Brock's going against Mysterio, Fiend's going against Daniel Bryan, and Cole's going against the winner of the triple threat match last night, Pete Dunne.
Yeah, but would you rather see a triple threat match with all 3 involved or what the matches are at the moment?
I would rather see what the matches are at the moment. It would kind of condense it. It'd turn 3 matches into 1. But I think the way it is now, because you've got like the brand supremacy ones, which are the Team Raw versus Team SmackDown ones, and you've got like the women's titles and such, like the mid card titles as well going off. So I think possibly having a new championship or champion would be good because we didn't see anything like that last night in NXT. So yeah, I think having the championship defended is a good point in this.
No, without a shadow of a doubt. It would be an interesting matchup. I think it would be Adam Cole who would lose in that situation. But it'd be interesting to see what they would do in that way. Maybe next year, if NXT's involved, then again they can say for the first time ever NXT champion versus these two champions as well, you know.
They don't want to burst all their first time ever bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. So you still got that to go, but still a nice shout out. David Johnson says, pretty sure they haven't announced Team NXT because they need to see Phil's and who's cleared to compete after War Games, and that probably couldn't be true after last night as well.
Well, I don't know because Adam Cole's actually got a match, and I think he took the worst beating of the night.
Yeah, no, to be fair, and Triple H has said today that he is cleared to compete, but a little bit banged up, so we're going to see what happens. And I mean, and this is the problem with having a takeover right before Survivor Series, when you've got the NXT talent involved, that you ask a lot of questions, especially when the Undisputed Era were on Friday Night Smackdown as well, you know, facing off with the New Day and Heavy Machinery. So,
yeah, so they thought, like, twice, 2 nights in a row, they're going to fight tonight, all of them, and they're possibly going to fight again on Monday Night Raw, depending on what happens. So, a busy weekend for them, but I'm sure they're getting really well compensated for it.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it'll be interesting to see who the NXT teams are, and I don't think we've discussed if there's going to be bonus points on the line for it or not later tonight. So I don't know. We'll have a discussion when we're not live as we talk about it. But anyway, yeah. I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of punishment taken last night. We'll see how banged up they are tonight.
Yeah, and see who's actually in the War Games match. But going on with the shout-outs, Amy Hamilton. This is quite a funny one. Why does Shayna look more like Bayley than Bayley does? Why does Pete Dunne look more like Shayna than Shayna does?
It is weird, isn't it, how they all start to kind of look like each other. Bayley's had a change in look. I mean, I know you get confused between Baszler and another person as well, so it must be quite difficult. It is funny to see that. AJ versus Strong versus Nakamura. The winner?
The fans. The fans win at that because... You know, you've got 3 very different styles, but 3 absolutely great workers in the ring.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I'm really looking forward to that match. Of course, we'll run through the card a little bit later on as well. Like I said, we're coming a little bit early. WWE Network kickoff starts at 10 o'clock, and of course, Survivor Series at midnight. But our next shout-out?
Robert Buck, if booked right, one of the best Survivor Series in years.
Yeah, but WWE always let us down, didn't they?
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's the trouble with following such a hot NXT takeover. You know, it's kind of our expectations are at 100 and they deliver us, you know, about 70, and it feels like they've delivered us about 20.
Yeah, and therein lies the problem. And I think tonight, it depends what they do, depends how they go. I mean, one of the worst Survivor Series and Raw kind of just swept through, and that was awful. I think Corbin was the general manager at the time, actually, so maybe he's got something to say about that. Will he get a victory tonight? We'll find out later. Barry Elms said Seth will get the CM Punk chance at him 100%.
Yeah, well, especially with their little feud that they're kind of building or not building or teasing us with. They're just giving us the tip of that feud, aren't they? They're not putting it all the way in. They're just getting us all warmed up and moist, ready for it. But I would love to see CM Punk versus this Seth.
Yeah.
But, you know, more than that, I'd like to see CM Punk versus AJ Styles.
I'd like to see CM Punk versus anybody at this moment in time. Yeah. And that's including Mojo Rawley in that. So, seriously, if CM Punk was to come back and it was like, right, CM Punk's only having one match against Mojo, you think I wouldn't watch that?
Oh, yeah, you'd watch it.
Exactly. I watched CM Punk versus...
Enzo Amore.
Yeah, Mojo is my worst one, actually.
Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle. Well, yeah, I would watch him, CM Punk versus anybody. Rock and Roll Express.
Well, Salmon Utim says, let's hope Raw does not clean sweep both NXT and SmackDown, then we will all be good.
Yeah, I mean, the best result tonight is NXT to clean sweep.
That would be the best result for wrestling.
Yeah.
Because it proves that they're on the... at least an even playing field to the other 2 rosters, and that would probably turn it from a developmental brand into a main roster brand in its own right. You know, my thinking is it's probably going to be very level pegging. I don't even know if they're going to go on the scores or how they're going to do it going through the night.
I hope they do, because like I said, we always do predictions here. Pay-per-view predictions are still quite close as we go towards the end of the year. But the thing is I remember last year, I think last year's Survivor, you got a perfect score because you guessed what order it would go. With a third team in, it's a little bit difficult. But I think hopefully they'll have something like that here tonight. So it means something as well in the end. But I think this is the problem. Does the winner get anything tonight? You know, if they win their respective matches, You know, the worst case scenario is maybe Raw clean sweep, but I think Raw's got quite a strong team in certain parts as well, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. Wilhelm Frewer said, Brock lost at WrestleMania, Brock lost at SummerSlam, but he will leave Survivor Series as the champion.
What about Cain Velasquez? It's no disqualification.
Yes.
You know, that could be a certain thing that could happen if they wanted to do part-time champ again. We'll find out later when we discuss it a little bit more, but I think there's a point. Has Brock ever lost at WrestleMania SummerSlam since his return? Well, no, he hasn't. So that would be very difficult. There is two kind of major events, aren't they?
Major events.
We'll see what happens later. Mahir Asev says, to be honest, Ray v. Brock has had the best build-up going to Survivor Series. From a certain point of view.
Yeah, I'd say, from a certain standpoint, you could see that it has... it's certainly got the most history to it, because Ray and Brock, they've both been around... Well, they've both known of each other since 2002. And they, you can definitely tell that Brock respects Ray, and I think that's going to be the kind of thing that gets us the best matchup out of the both of them, because Brock doesn't respect many people, but Ray is someone that he could definitely respect.
It's weird that he seems to have respect for the smaller wrestlers as well, especially since his return, barring John Cena. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see what they actually do there. Christian Davis says NXT teams are to be announced because of possible injuries. Might happen at War Games again. That is very true. Could there be any massive surprises here tonight? What would be, if you could pick one surprise, and it doesn't have to spoil anything like that, if you could pick one member of NXT tonight that you would get out of your seat for, who would it be?
One member?
Yeah, to be, the men's NXT team. We don't know who it is yet, do we? If you could pick one member. So mine would be, it would be Drew McIntyre. Wearing his Raw stuff, but then Claymore kick, undo it, and have NXT underneath. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I would pop.
I don't know, possibly a new wrestler. Johnny Nitro, I think that would be a good pop. Or, someone new, Marty Scurll.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, it could be someone that comes back in WWE and, back where it was as well.
Well, saying that, Jonathan Dixon says Dean Ambrose comes back as part of Team NXT for a new Shield triple threat.
Yeah, I mean, Dan would lose his shit if that happened.
I would lose my shit, yeah, but you've probably got more chance of fucking Owen Hart coming down and being part of Team NXT.
Yeah, I mean, that's about that. Yeah, I mean, it's a long shot, shall we? But it'd be interesting to see what they do tonight. Let's just hope it's not Triple H.
Oh, fucking hell, it's going to be Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, and X-Pac, innit?
X-Pac. But anyway, Derek, next shout out, Dan.
Derek Mihawk says, I hope that Bray Bryan ends with The Fiend winning in dominant fashion, leading to the Yes movement coming back, and there being a rematch at TLC. I could also go with The Fiend looking unbeatable in the first part of the match, but Bryan bringing the Yes movement back midway through and probably winning it. And that would be, actually quite impressive, seeing Daniel Bryan getting beaten the shit out of and then just finally going, yes, and then just pummeling the fuck out of The Fiend. And, even coming up really close to it or actually beating The Fiend.
I think what we need, if Daniel Bryan's going to have another title victory and they're going to build him up again, they need to go all the way like they were going to do last time. And when they don't do that, therein lies a problem with this. I think The Fiend needs the victory here tonight, but I think the feud can continue if Bryan puts up a lot of fight. But I fear tonight, both of the title matches could be over in a matter of seconds, as opposed to anything else.
Yeah, I could possibly say the same to that, to be honest.
So I do worry about that a little bit. All right, so let's move on to a bit of news. And Dan, have you seen Adam Rose recently?
I have, yes, actually.
You have seen Adam Rose.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, what the fuck? He's become unrecognisable since his WWE release.
Yeah, he's at least trebled in size.
At least quadrupled in size.
But Adam Rose has become recognisable since his WWE release. Not everyone will remember Adam Rose, but those of you who are in for a shock, after all, Adam Rose now looks almost unrecognisable.
Yeah, he was actually quite the prolific figure in WWE from 2014 to 2016. For ECW and NXT. He was called up to the main roster in 2014 and remained there for 2 years.
For those of you who are familiar with Adam Rose, these pictures are probably a tremendous shock.
Yeah, and I'm going to try and post the pictures when I'm not really trying to do live recording as we are.
Well, it is difficult to recognise Rose in the new picture. He's gained a considerable amount of weight and aged quite a bit as well. All this in a period of only 5 years.
Okay, I've tweeted. Adam Rose addressed his weight gain and transformation on social media, explaining he regained the weight after quitting WWE. He also mentioned his drug addiction past, praising the WWE for helping him get his life back together.
Well, he had a bit of a controversial release, and this is a little thing into the controversial characters that we're going to be doing later on down the line. Rose was released from the WWE in 2016 after a domestic violence incident. According to the charges, Rose grabbed his wife and took her phone away so she could not call 911. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Police Office report stated that LePan, or Rose, and his wife were arguing in the home and that the situation escalated.
Well, the company released the following statement after the news broke at the time. The wrestler will be serving a 60-day suspension for a violation of the company's wellness policy.
WWE has a zero tolerance for matters involving domestic violence, and per our policy, Raymond LePan, Rose, has been suspended indefinitely following his arrest. According to the policy, LePan will be fired if he's convicted or could be reinstated if the charges are dropped or he's acquitted. However, a so-called morals clause in the company's booking contract gives the company broad discretion to fine, suspend or terminate talent if incontrovertible if evidence of such illegal misconduct is presented to WWE.
Yeah, well, since his departure, Rose has been active on the independent scene. But no big breaks have presented themselves. He changed his ring name to Aldo Rose. His first match would be against another W alumni, Damien Sandow. After a lengthy break, he would then change his name to Leo Kruger.
Wow, well, champion for a day. During his indie career, Kruger briefly held the heavyweight championship at Championship International Wrestling. And when we say briefly, we really mean he dropped the title to someone else the very next day.
That is the kind of briefest of titles. 21st of April 2017, he did become the Atomic Wrestling Entertainment Heavyweight Champion. Yes, the Atomic Wrestling Entertainment World Heavyweight Champion.
He's really reached it. Well, in early 2019, Kruger announced his retirement from professional wrestling. His retirement match took place under the Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling promotion, which he lost by submission.
Yeah, so Adam Rose there is a story. Let's hope it all ends well. Let's hope he's nice and healthy about that. And we move on to departures, and please release me.
Let him go. Yes, Sin Cara has become the latest WWE wrestler to take to social media asking for his release.
Well, on Monday, Sin Cara, or Jorge Arias, tweeted a statement in Spanish that said after praying Sunday night and thinking about his children, he had to take the most difficult decision, but sensible one, to ask for his WWE release.
In the statement, which is seen below, Arias reflected on his 20-year career before giving the reason why he wants out.
He said, I'm so grateful for the opportunity they gave me. However, I realise that I'm stuck in a place where I'm not valued as an athlete or talent because I'm Sin Cara. I have worked hard and honestly for many years to polish my trade, and I've been loyal and respectful, a team player, supportive, and I've waited patiently for the opportunity to show the world everything I can do. Unfortunately, after all these years, the opportunity never came, or feel it ever come with while I remain where I am. But didn't he sign a long-term contract early on in the year as well, didn't he? So that kind of doesn't make any sense that he would do that.
Well, especially after, Triple H saying, if you want to be released from your contract, yeah, fair enough. But don't go posting it on social media. Come and ask us. So I think to kind of teach him a lesson, he's probably going to be sat on main event going against Mojo fucking Rawley for the next 4.5 years.
I'm sure he signed a multi-year deal like Ken Ellis, and then all of a sudden they want to really. But like he said his best years are to come, and thank both WWE and the fans for their support. He recently returned to Raw and angle with Andrade and Zelina Vega.
Well, several other WWE wrestlers have publicly asked for their release in the past, with Shawn Spears, the former Ty Dillinger, as the only successful one. Luke Harper and Mike Kanellis still remain with the company after pleading their case on social media.
Well, after working Mexican Indies and AAA for years, the man eventually known as Incognito made his move to the US stage with appearances in TNA and Shikara. He signed with WWE Developmental in 2009 and changed his name to Hunico, making it to the main roster in 2011 as a fill-in for Sin Cara, as the original was serving a 30-day wellness suspension. The Sin Cara, we look at it, the gimmick didn't work, did it really? Sin Cara Angle sued that he eventually revived the Hunico name, teamed with Camacho, remember him, and he took back the Sin Cara character in 2013 and formed the Lucha Dragons with Kalisto in both NXT and eventually WWE.
Well, outside of the ring, he was on the shelf for parts of the last few years with knee injuries. He also famously got into separate 2016 backstage altercations with Chris Jericho and Simon Gotch.
Well, speaking of Chris Jericho, move on to some AEW news.
Oh, Bash at the Beach, the old WWE pay-per-view name, is being resurrected by All Elite Wrestling as the company today announced that their January 15th episode of Dynamite will officially be referred to as AEW Bash at the Beach.
Well, the show will be airing live from the Watsco Center located in the University of Miami in Florida, the company's first visit to the city. The tickets on the show go on sale last Friday, and AEW using Miami Vice type logo to promote the show.
Well, the Bash at the Beach trademark was filed by Cody Rhodes on March 18th of this year under Entertainment Services. The trademark had been dead since the closure of WCW, and WWE never renewed the trademark application and never used the name following their WCW takeover.
Bash at the Beach ran from 94 to 2000 as a pay-per-view, and the beach theme as a set. I loved these sets as well. I hope they do it. 5 of the 7 Bash at the Beach pay-per-views were held in Florida, and the other 2 in California.
Well, perhaps the most famous Bash at the Beach was in '96 when Hulk Hogan was revealed as the third man of the NWO. It was only a year earlier, Hogan made his WCW in-ring debut during Bash at the Beach pay-per-view in Huntington Beach, California, defeating Ric Flair to win the WCW title.
Well, as of November 19th, Rose now has live trademarks on Slamboree and Super Brawl as well.
Well, the Slamboree pay-per-views ran from 93 to 2000 and was originally billed as a Legends reunion because the first few shows featured returning legends in matches there to receive awards for their accomplishments.
WWE got something like that. It's called Saudi Arabia events. Super Bowl ran from 91 until 2001 and was considered one of the WWE flagship pay-per-views, along with Starrcade, The Great American Bash, and Halloween Havoc.
Well, here's a description for those trademark filings.
GNS Entertainment, in the nature of wrestling, contains entertainment services, namely wrestling exhibits and performance for a professional wrestler and entertainer. Entertainment services, namely production and distribution of ongoing television programs in the field of professional wrestling, providing wrestling news via Global Computer Network.
You actually done that like you was reading the terms and conditions for something. Well, Rose currently has the following live trademarks:
Super Bowl,
Slamboree,
The Match Beyond,
Bash at the Beach,
Dusty Rhodes,
The American Nightmare,
The Prince of Wrestling,
Bunkhouse Stampede,
Battle Bowl,
The American Dream.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes wanted to write a book on his father, but WWE owned the Dusty Rhodes name at the time. It's expired, and now Cody owns it, so there's nothing stopping him from writing the book. I mean, come on, he deserves to own his own name, doesn't he? You know, and we're definitely getting that here with Cody Rhodes. And if you're not going to use the events, then I hope Cody uses it well. You know, and I'm happy WCW. It's not a revival as such, but you're kind of remembering the stuff from back in the day as well.
I can see that side of it, but do you not think, again, it's another little petty thing that WCW are doing? That, I know, because they've got, obviously on the WWE Network, where WWE owns a WCW library, they've got the Bash at the Beach, they've got Slam, they've got all these, and could there not be some kind of confusion between the two?
There could be possibly, but if AEW are going to use the new names and WWE not, I don't see any harm in it, and it's a little bit of excitement to see the name again. If you're an old fan, if WWE want to keep harping back to 20 years, then Cody Rhodes can do it as well with the names going back 30 years with the NWA, so all fair enough. Moving on to another wrestling company, and Ring of Honor.
Well, controversy is rife at Ring of Honor with the recent firing of reigning Ring of Honor Women's Champion Kelly Klein. In a detailed story at Newsweek, Klein addressed the situation, which stems from a head injury she suffered in a match on October 26th during the company's UK tour.
She said, there was no doctor there to check on me. She said, nobody suggested a protocol. I wasn't aware or briefed on a protocol.
In a reference, the facility in UK, which had housed the event, did have medical personnel on hand. Klein believes that a wrestling company not having any medical staff is alarming, as other major promotions such as WWE and AEW have medical staff on hand at all events and can handle procedures for dealing with injuries.
Well, Klein finished the rest of the match. It was only when she returned to a backstage area after a match, laid down on the concrete floor of the women's dressing room and began speaking gibberish for an hour that her colleagues realised that Klein appeared to have sustained an injury.
Another instance of concussion for Klein came in April 2018. As with the recent head injury, Klein says nothing happened regarding the medical treatment she received from the company.
In a face-to-face meeting on November 7th, Klein raised her concerns with Chief Operating Officer Joe Koff and allegedly was told the company doesn't have a concussion policy, something Klein claims that she's never seen. She said that if there was a concussion policy, then the talent was not aware of it.
Joe Koff, is he the son of Jack?
No. What about fuck?
And piss.
Piss. Bugger. All right, okay. Yeah.
Koff also told her that Ring of Honor management is always aware when talent is hurt. Klein responded, "No, you don't, because nobody knew I had concussion in New Orleans," referring to her April 2018 concussion.
She was fired by the company through an email, as they revealed. Husband BJ Whitmore says Ring of Honor did not offer to arrange or pay for treatment for a recent concussion. The lack of documented policy making it unclear to talent who is responsible for arranging medical care and costs. It's been reported that in some cases, but not all, wrestlers may be told they can invoice for the cost of appointments and procedures, but only after they've already paid out of their own pockets.
Well, earlier this month, former Ring of Honor staff member Joey Mercury tweeted out, with Klein's permission, emails sent between Klein and Gillian revealing that she was making under $1,000 a year with the promotion in her 2019 Ring of Honor contract.
Well, regarding her annual pay, Klein says she was only able to afford costs in order to appointments and rehabilitation because she benefits from her husband Whitmore's private health insurance.
Well, that was easy for you to say.
Yes, mouthful.
And she said, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to take care of these appointments.
Well, the women's champions had difficulties with them in the past. When negotiating a contract for 2019, the wrestler asked her of $24,000 increase or $4,000, but was rebuffed.
Well, Klein says that the rebuttal and lack of development of storylines for the women's division on the weekly Ring of Honor television series makes it very evident they value the women less than the male wrestlers.
There's a lack of real value of talent and management eyes in general, and then with the women especially, I don't feel the value of the women are doing or the hard they're working.
A Ring of Honor spokesperson told Newsweek a $20,000 contract is the most ever offered women's division and is in fact more than what is paid to most male performers who work on a non-exclusive basis.
Well, she says she's not planning to wrestle for the rest of the year. She recovers from a concussion but will continue fighting to get better working conditions.
I imagine part of the thought process behind trying to shut me out of Ring of Honor was that maybe the issues would no longer apply to me, Klein explained, and I'll just drop it. But that's not ever been about how things could benefit only me. I want my friends and colleagues to have a safe and fair working environment.
I'm still going to ask them to do better. Taking away my job there doesn't change the issues. I want them to be accountable for creating an unsafe environment, and the only way I know is to have enough eyes on the public. We'll have to hold them accountable. Dan, what are your thoughts on this turnaround events in Ring of Honor?
I think it is absolutely disgusting, and it is down to Ring of Honor to be able to provide medical professionals there because, as we've seen in many wrestling, even, in a couple of ladder matches that we've seen, in busted open noses and just simple things like that, and concussion is a huge, huge thing in wrestling, especially nowadays, and it is something that definitely needs to be closely looked at, and Ring of Honor definitely in the wrong for that.
Well, what I don't like about it is Joe Mercury said, about these conditions, and Ring of Honor said, no, we got rid of him because of the kind of drug thing, trying to, break some rumours. There's obviously something going wrong on there. Weirdly enough, we've been watching a lot of wrestling this weekend. We've been trying a kind of mini challenge for this. We started yesterday watching AEW and, of course, watching... what else did we watch? Impact Wrestling. How can we forget about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, Tessa Blanchard winning it. And, of course, today we watched Smackdown with War Games last night. And, of course, today Ring of Honor. And what did you think of the Ring of Honor product?
Awful. No, it looks really cheaply made. It's, I know it's not in the same leagues as WWE, and I am glad for one thing that it's getting exposure.
Well, the thing is that for me it was the worst one that we'd watched. I really enjoyed AEW, but even SmackDown went by, even though there was kind of loads of adverts. I think the one I was most pleasantly surprised with was Impact Wrestling, because I think that match is well worth it in the end. You know, the 6-person elimination match, Tess Blanchard coming out on top. Well, and also, I should say with AEW, Orange Cassidy was a fantastic moment. What were your favourite things over our marathon? Of course, we're not finished yet. Still got Survivor Series and the kickoff still to come.
I think the WWE product, you know, throughout the 3 shows has been thoroughly enjoyable, especially with this interbrand stuff. I did enjoy parts of AEW, but there was a few bits that was a bit ridiculous. I mean, you know, with the Kenny Omega, he was having a backstage interview when he had his black eye and he was lifting weights, making it look like he was really struggling. They had the tiniest little fucking weights on there. And he said, oh yeah, just add one more. And he added a weight to one side, one person. It's just like, really? You're supposed to be a serious wrestling performer and you're just making yourself look like a tit.
I liked it. I liked it.
And that therein lies the problem, my friend James.
You called me a friend for the first time. No, I liked it. And look, are you sick of wrestling yet?
I'm not sick of wrestling. I'm sick of stupid wrestling.
We have watched a lot of wrestling. We've watched at least 14 hours of wrestling this week.
At least 18 hours.
Yeah, and we've got plenty more to do because now it's time to travel back in time. But you did say most ridiculous. You saying ridiculous there. Speaking of ridiculous, we've got a special treat later on the show where we've got 3 of the most ridiculous Survivor Series moments coming up.
Indeed, yeah.
It's almost like you linked that well. But right now, we're going to take a stop and go back 20 years to Survivor Series 1999. All right, so we're going back 20 years now to Survivor Series 1999, my very first Survivor Series, and it's one that I remember to this day. And it took place on the 14th of November 1999 from Detroit, Michigan, in the Joe Louis Arena.
Well, we had an attendance of 18,735. And the commentators are, as always, good old JR, who's a twat who works for AEW now, and Jerry the Perv Lawler.
Well, our pay-per-view buyer is 1.14. And our first match, Survivor Series elimination, 8-man tag team match. Dino Brown, the Godfather, and the Headbangers, Marshall Thrasher, defeated the Acolytes, Bradshaw and Farouk, and the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley, in under 10 minutes.
Well, we start off Bradshaw eliminating Thrasher first off in 3 minutes 40 seconds.
Bubba Ray Dudley eliminates Mosh at 4:57.
Bradshaw is disqualified at 5:52.
Devon Dudley and Farouk disqualified at 6:45.
Dino Brown eliminates Bubba Ray Dudley at 9 minute 36.
So your survivors are Dino Brown and the Godfather.
Then we have a singles match, Kurt Angle defeating Sean Stasiak at 5 minutes 56. It is actually Kurt's pay-per-view debut.
Yeah, it's a match we have actually seen before. We've got Survivor Series elimination, 8-man tag team match. Gangrel, Mark Henry, Steve Blackman and Val Venus defeating the British Bulldog and the Mean Street Posse, Joey Az, Pete Gas and Rodney.
Yeah, we start off by Steve Blackman eliminating Pete Gas at 2 minutes 56.
Gangrel eliminates Rodney at 4:21.
Mark Henry eliminates Joey Abs at 6:02.
British Bulldog eliminates Gangrel 6:46.
British Bulldog eliminates Steve Blackman at 7:32.
And Val Venus eliminates the British Bulldog at 9:10.
Yourselves of Mark Henry and Val Venus.
And then we get a 1 Fall Sudden Death 8-man tag team match.
With women.
Where Deborah, Mae Young, The Fabulous Moon and Tori defeating Ivory, Jacqueline Luna and Terry at a whopping 1 minute and 53 seconds.
Well, at least they get more time than the AEW women do nowadays.
Stop.
Then we have a singles match, Kane defeating X-Pac by disqualification at 4 minutes 14.
And then Survivor Series 4-1 handicap elimination match. Big Show defeated Midian, Prince Albert, the Big Boss Man and Viscera in 1:27.
Fucking hell. Then we get a WWF Intercontinental title match. China, who is your Intercontinental Champion, defeats Chris Jericho at 13 minutes 45.
And then we get a Survivor Series elimination 8-man tag team match. The Hollies, Crash and Hardcore, and Too Cool, Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty Totty defeating Christian, Edge, and the Hardy Boys, Jeff and Matt.
Yeah, Hardcore Holly eliminates Edge at 6:06.
And then Scotty Too Hotty eliminates Matt Hardy.
Jeff Hardy then eliminates Scotty Too Hotty at 10:11.
Grandmaster Sexay eliminates Jeff at 11:34.
Christian eliminates Grandmaster Sexay at 11:45.
Christian eliminates Crash Holly at 13:58.
And then Hardcore Holly eliminates Christian at 14:26.
And then the World Tag Team title match, New Age Outlaws, Mr. Arse and the Road Dogg defeat Al Snow and Mankind in just under 14 minutes.
And then we go on to the main event, the WWF World Heavyweight Title Triple Threat match. It is billed as Triple H versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, Stone Cold's getting interviewed backstage by... Oh, wait a minute, Triple H just came out.
Attacks Austin, who then proceeds to chase the game.
Well, Kevin Kelly couldn't get a word in, and Austin now's on, like I said, the prowl to catch the game. Why would Triple H want him up for his DX? Maybe he's setting a trap. Austin's in a car park now. Austin wants to know where Triple H has gone.
And a car comes from the background.
Oh!
Runs over Austin.
And what the hell?
And then spins off.
Well, the car just hit Austin, and Austin's out. And Austin's serious trouble. You can hear JR how serious this is.
Austin's not moving backstage.
Stone Cold just got run over. Who had done it? Who'd have thunk it? My God, so Stone Cold... He's not there. JR's devastated. And JR's going to go to the back and find out what's happened. And Vince McMahon's there as well. And Triple H saying he's not involved in it.
Oh, Jerry Lawler basically last time I checked on someone who had been injured in the ring, he was dead.
Well, Vince McMahon's out there and this doesn't look good at all. And now the trainers, the EMTs.
There's an ambulance there as well.
And you've got to be careful with Austin. And is he breathing? Or is he just unconscious? Stephanie and Shane there. They got on the scene quickly, didn't they?
Yes.
Oh.
Maybe a bit too quickly.
Well, who could run over Stone Cold Steve Austin is the question.
I think it's something to do with Triple H. I think it's one of the D-Generation X members. I know Road Dogg was running back there looking...
we didn't see Mr. Arse, did
pursuit. We? No, we didn't see X-Pac.
Sergeant Slaughter there, they're getting a net brace on, and this is not good. Not good. And Austin is out of the triple threat match.
So who is going to take his place?
Who?
Triple H. But the actual story to Austin not being there, it actually goes back 2 years to Survivor Series 2007. He was having time off for operations with a neck injury. Yeah,
Owen Hart dropped on his head at SummerSlam, and Austin was still suffering seriously from that, and that's why, of course, he retired early. But what a match. We never actually saw Triple H, Austin, and The Rock together in a triple threat, but I think that would have been an awesome match to see, and so unfortunately we didn't get it in this one, but I think Triple H might be pretty happy Austin's not involved.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's The Rock.
Glad it's done that.
So who's going to take Austin's place in this triple threat match?
Well, is there anybody big enough to take Austin's place? I mean, I can't think of anyone in the back.
I don't think anyone on the entire show Austin's place.
Oh, well...
Well, it's the Big Show, and Triple H looks pissed off.
And The Rock doesn't look that happy either. The big nasty bastard who won the 4-on-1 elimination match earlier, sole survivor.
Well, he's only had under a 2-minute match already against 4 guys.
And Triple H cannot be happy. Big Show's his first chance at championship. And Rock and Triple H realise they're going to have to team up to take the Big Show down.
They're going to try and get rid of the big nasty bastard and just go on it mono-a-mono. Both taking turns at shots at the Big Show. Double Irish whip, and Show just runs right through the pair of them. Huge headbutt for The Rock and one for the game.
And the Big Show means business here tonight. The big boot to The Rock.
Well, he's defeated 2 men. He's defeated 4 men. Can he defeat another 2 and become the World Heavyweight Champion?
Well, headbutt to Triple H, knocking him back in the corner. Got it round the throat.
Up for a choke slam, but The Rock from behind, saving the WWF champ.
May realise that's his best bet. And our Irish whip, reversed by Big Show.
Just hits a huge back elbow to The Rock. Triple H goes a bit low. Follows that with some huge right hands. And I don't know how much the Big Show can withstand. I mean, yeah, he did beat 4 guys, but would you rather take on the Big Bossman and so on and so forth over 2 very credible heavyweight champions?
Well, that's the true story, I think. The Big Show comes down with a huge chop to Triple H's chest. And now Rock with a big right hand.
Rock and Triple H working together to eliminate the Big Show from the Royal Rumble and send him over the top rope. Now these two go at it. Only for a minute as the Big Show recovers and just drags the Rock out.
And Big Show now picking the Rock up. Going to run into the ring post.
No, the Rock with a backslide sending Big Show headfirst into the post. Triple H off the edge of the ring apron.
And these 2 men have feuded over the past 3-4 years ever since the Rock debut match at Survivor Series in '96 was against this man. He's fought against him for the Intercontinental title, cage matches, strap matches, and now for the WWF Championship. But there's one man who hasn't won it, and he's got a taste of it on the outside. He won it.
Don't count. And he's got Triple H pinned in the corner by his foot. The Big Show is large and in charge. On the back of his. Big Show's in quite good shape, to be fair.
Yeah, he's started putting on the weight since his WWE days, but it's only because they signed him to a long-ass contract and he need for it. But Big Show's still quite good. The Rock sending Triple H to the outside.
Setting a Big Show up for the most electrifying move in sports entertainment today. The People's Elbow. Drops it.
He is. They might have a new champion.
No, Triple H in to break up the pin attempt.
Well, Rock's not happy about that, and Triple H do anything to keep hold of his championship. Now Triple H just choking the Rock out in the corner. Now huge right hands in the corner. And Triple H with a rake to the eye, but the Rock fighting out the corner.
Turning his attentions back to Triple H, where I think they both should be focused on the Big Show. And now hits a huge sidewalk slam on the Rock after Triple H was done with him.
Well, Big Show maybe could have gone for the cover, but chooses H instead.
Throws him to the outside.
And Big Show with a huge right hand, sending Triple H scurrying down the entranceway. Now Big Show picking up the game.
Dropping him throat barricade.
Oh my God, and the momentum the Rock built up. Running down the entranceway, knocking the Big Show down with a clothesline. Take it back to his American football days.
Now the Rock and Chan at it. Rock sending Triple H for a TV table. Pinning a bloke underneath it.
And the Rock doesn't care. He'll lay the Smackdown on you wherever you are.
JR and Jerry Lawler talking about possible suspects who hit Austin with the car to take him out of the match.
Now got an Irish whipping. No, Triple H reverses.
And then hits a clothesline as the Rock bounces off. But now Big Show's back up. And he's even more pissed off than he was earlier.
Big Show took out Triple H going after the Rock.
The Rock's got a brilliant equaliser there, using a fire extinguisher.
Well, he's putting out the fire. All Black gives Triple H a chance.
No, Rock reverses it into one of his own. But the Big Show's up again and he wants retribution on the Rock. Looking to choke slam him. But Triple H up and with a low blow on the Big Show.
And the fans chanting Rocky's name. There's no doubt who's a clear favourite in this one. The Rock bringing Triple H back to ringside. Triple H with a back suplex taking the Rock out.
Oh, both men are a bit worse for wear as the Big Show makes his way back down. And now he's got a bone to pick with Triple H for hitting him low. And a bone to pick with The Rock for hitting him with a fire extinguisher. And Triple H gets Irish whipped into the steel stairs as the Big Show continues his dominance.
And the Big Show looks pissed off as he sends Triple H into the stairs.
For the second time.
And now The Rock got the water in his mouth, spat at the Big Show.
As The Rock tries to bounce Big Show's head off barricade, he stops him, sends The Rock into it, picks Triple H up, sends him head first into the announcer's table.
And The Rock had no choice but to rake the eye.
And then uses the ring bell on the head of the Big Show, who's still not staying down.
And now Triple H trying to suplex the Big Show.
Well, I think that's going to wash. He calls The Rock over.
And now these two men are going to work as a team.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my word, the Big Show explodes the announce table. Both men help take Big Show over, and he's got to be out of this surely.
Well, don't call me Shirley, but he certainly isn't getting up as quickly as he has been. And now The Rock sends Triple H over barricade into the feet of the crowd.
Oh, a huge suplex. And that could be it now. It's a one-on-one match. The Rock and Triple H brawling in the crowd.
I think they want to try and take it to the ring so that one of them can even get a pin, but just the hatred between these two men is so strong that they don't care where they're fighting at the moment.
They're even knocking fans down. That's how much they hate each other. Now The Rock with a big right hand to the Triple H. Back over to ringside.
Well, Big Show stirring over by the announcers as Rock and Triple H finally make it back into the ring.
The Rock needs to put Triple H away. Triple H soon.
Oh, well, won't be able to get a pinfall count just yet as senior referee shirt stealer Hebner has been knocked down. Irish whip reverse. Triple H sends the Rock into the corner, but the Rock bounces out. Looking for a rock bottom. Triple H escapes. Looking for a pedigree. Gets the arms locked, but the Rock with a spine buster.
Well, now the move doesn't work in real life.
Slingshot into the corner. Rock bottom.
We've got a new WWF champion. The referee's there.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, but Earl Hebner, shirt still on the outside. We're getting Shane McMahon as a ref. 2.
Triple H managing to kick out.
The Rock can't believe it. And it's weird, a year ago, Shane McMahon screwed the Austin out of the title to help The Rock. Second rock bottom.
No, the Big Show drags Shane O'Mac out by his ankle. and tries cutting off the Rock before he can get into the ring.
Rock trying to send Big Show to the announce table, but Big Show managed to reverse it.
Big Show just pummeling on the Rock, who's strewn over the announce table.
Big Show, I don't think it's finished for Triple H. Can he put him away, become champ? Shane McMahon's there now. Because originally it was meant to be Vince, but he steps aside once that what happened to Austin. Now Big Show just throws Triple H clear across the ring.
Turns his attentions back to the Rock, who's getting up off the announce table. Rock doing his best to fight back. Oh, shit, reversed by Show, sends Rock into the steel stairs.
Now Triple H back on his feet. He's got the WF title belt, and Shane McMahon takes it off him.
Well, he gets hit with a pedigree.
Well, that's not justice, is it? I know there's no disqualification, but that's 2 referees taken out now. Now the Rock taking out Big Show, going after the game.
Rock plants Triple H with a DDT, but gets taken out by the Big Show before he can do anything else to him. Huge jumping elbow from Show to the game.
And now Big Show looking to end Triple H, but here comes DX. Well, I say no Billy Gunn again. It's X-Pac and Road Dogg. And now finally Billy Gunn's coming out. Where's Billy Gunn?
In the ring.
Oh yeah, Billy Gunn's in the ring now. I didn't see him earlier. And now Vince McMahon's had enough. And Vince looks pissed. He's back from the hospital from Stone Cold. And he's got the WF title belt.
Oh, Big Show chokeslams Billy Gunn. Looking to hit Triple H with a title. Triple H ducks it. Shoots a look to Vince. And then a Big Show catches him with a chokeslam. 1, 2, 3. Vince counts the pinfall.
Vince McMahon has screwed WF Championship and given it to the Big Show. Big Show wins. The fans are surprised if Vince gets one over on the game. Dan, what are your thoughts on that match?
I thought it was a very chaotic match. Big Show, certainly he is at his most dominant best here. I mean, not a lot could keep him down. I think even when Brock Lesnar went through the announce table, he stayed down for a lot longer than the Big Show did, and that's saying something.
Yeah, well, but it sets up a lot of things. Big Show kind of gets his chance here to show he can be champ. The Rock doesn't get pinned, and the game can blame Vince McMahon and move on to that feud. And of course, the match at Armageddon, but 20 years ago, Big Show becomes WF champion for the very first time. Survivor Series 99, I think a very underrated Survivor Series, but it's nice we can go back 20 years and catch up with it. So that was Survivor Series 1999. Like I said, Big Show as champion 20 years ago. But move on to something else, and that is CM Punk.
Well, Punk's hotly anticipated debut as a WWE backstage analyst went down last night, and as expected, the former voice of the voiceless had a lot to say on the state of the company.
Well, his most pointed moment came when criticising the current Baron Corbin-Roman Reigns feud. He said, "This is something that makes me reconsider doing this show," he said, when revisiting last week's Smackdown segment. "The creative is bad. I don't know anything about Baron Corbin, really, but that's a bad start. It was garbage, right, Paige?"
Well, also got to mention, with Punk following up on the Beast Slayer's Twitter challenges by saying he wanted to maintain his journalistic integrity by not working an angle on backstage, adding that the former Universal Champion needed to stop tweeting and delete the app from his phone. Ouch.
Well, on top of all this, a lengthy one-on-one sit-down segment with Renee Young saw Punk claim that an in-ring return wasn't something I'm actively pursuing.
He said he was wise enough to never say never, but that a bridge would need to be built for it to ever be possible, and it might take as long as building the Great Wall of China.
However, Punk has announced that he has no relationship with WWE has no intention of returning to the ring.
Well, he clarified on this week's WWE Backstage show that he has only returned to WWE to fulfill his agreement with US broadcaster Fox.
He said, "I do not work with, have any relationship with, and have not talked to anyone at WWE. It's strictly a Fox thing. I get to criticise the product."
Well, I don't think this job existed 6 months ago. Somebody floated it and I didn't immediately go, ugh, no.
Well, the premiere was missed by almost everyone, but the second episode of WWE Backstage, which featured a surprise return of CM Punk, managed to double its audience.
Well, everyone was wondering how FS1 Studio would do with a week to promote Punk and the promise of WWE's prodigal superstar shooting on the company's current product, and the answer is pretty good. At least compared to previous weeks, and for a show at 11 p.m. Eastern on a Tuesday.
Backstage cracked the top 150 cable originals for the first time on November 19th. Viewership was up 80% to 180,000 according to daily numbers. It's got a 0.10 rating among 18 to 49-year-olds, which put it in the pack of shows tie for 101st place of the night.
How will it do next week? Well, we really enjoyed what Punk brought to the show, but did most of the people who tuned in?
Well, we shall see, but it's a breath of fresh air throughout. CM Punk came exactly as advertised, and we need more of this. It was great to see Punk back, wasn't it, and delivering a couple of pipe bombs.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really refreshing to see him back in this position that he's in, and hopefully, we'll see a bit more of Punk over time.
Yeah, we hope for that. We shall see what happens. Anyway, we'll move on, and that's CM Punk, and Dan, do you fancy a masturbate?
I'd love a masturbate with you, James. I didn't get enough of it last night.
No, so we explained to anybody that's never listened to us before what a masturbate, 3 topics, and then, how would you explain a masturbate to everybody?
Well, we both, there's 2 subjects on a certain topic, and we kind of fight the corner of the random one that we choose basically here on the night, and we try and either convince the other one to agree with us, or we agree with the other person on whose point has the most validity.
Yeah. All right, so we've got the first one, and it's quite interesting because, of course, Survivor Series had a lot of missed debuts. But we're going to argue what was the debut that mattered, really, whether it was The Rock versus The Undertaker debut. And I guess the question would be, if we had one and not the other, which one would have a bigger impact? So, Dan, who do you want to go for?
I'll go for the Undertaker debut.
You go with the Undertaker, and I'm going to go for The Rock. All right, so you start us off with why the Undertaker debut is so important.
Well, the Undertaker debut, he wasn't doing what they do nowadays and just beating bodies and going against like jobber after jobber after jobber for a few weeks. He was actually brought in, and he came in as a legitimate badass, and he was a survivor on his team.
Yeah. But I mean, at the moment also like a kind of moment in time as well of like The Rock debuting at Survivor Series was such an important moment because of who The Rock is now, basically. And you think about who had a bigger impact in sports center, I would say The Rock beats out The Undertaker.
Well, you could say that, but The Rock, he's kind of just turned his back on WWE and gone to Hollywood, whereas The Undertaker, he's been in the product for nearly 30 years. He had a huge WrestleMania streak off the back of this. If this was a terrible debut, then they wouldn't have given him what followed it down the line. They wouldn't have given him a Royal Rumble win. They wouldn't have, made him one of the best WrestleMania superstars ever, or the best WrestleMania superstar ever. Well,
I think with The Rock to come in at the time he did, to be the sole survivor of this team, the kind of fresh-faced guy, that kind of built towards the Rock character as it was. And you think when you people that open up the doors, professional wrestling, when you think of one wrestler, who's the biggest kind of, not just biggest kind of ex-wrestler, biggest movie star in the world right now, and it's The Rock. Everybody knows who The Rock is, don't they? So without that debut taking place, then we wouldn't have had The Rock. There in fact that, with The Undertaker, I love The Undertaker bits, but it might have been just someone else who'd been wrestling a really long time.
It could have been anyone wrestling a long time, but I still think, take away the Hollywood side of things and actually in wrestling, which is what this show is about, wrestling and not movie shows, I think The Undertaker's had the longer, more successful career on WWE.
But The Rock hasn't opened. I mean, The Rock is you talk about a star as such, but he's to kind of been more acceptable, to be more mainstream. If it wasn't for The Rock, Smackdown would never got on Fox. Smackdown would never be invented because The Rock would never have said it anyway. But it would never been on Fox because people would have thought, oh, wrestling's quite cool. And it's in fact due to someone like The Rock, not a 50-year-old man who's going around the ring at the moment barely having wrestling matches.
But he's still having wrestling matches in said ring.
Yeah, but The Rock could have a wrestling match if he wanted. He came back and had the 2 most profitable WrestleManias of all time when he decided to come back and wrestle.
I still think, as wrestlers go, James, who featured higher on our wrestlers, all-time wrestlers?
The Undertaker featured higher than The Rock, but
so you're saying that he's a better wrestler then?
But if you're taking, we're not talking about, we're just saying if you can take one of the debuts away, if you weren't even having The Undertaker or The Rock doing it, if The Rock was taken away, would that have a much of an impact? I think it would have a bigger impact than The Undertaker not being have a debut.
But I think that the Undertaker's a more kind of different style of character. He is his own character, whereas The Rock is just a generic worker. Yes, his mic work is second to none. But, as far as legacies in wrestling go, if you was to take one away, I think the Undertaker's would matter more.
I don't know. You got to give me a killer blow here to side with you. You got what was the Undertaker done that the Rock hasn't, or anything that the Undertaker brings?
Undefeated streak at WrestleMania.
But anybody can remain undefeated at wrestling. With the Rock, it's saying. Imagine not having.
But he wasn't though. He lost what 2-3 times on the bounce to Austin at WrestleMania.
No, not the Rock with a streak. I was just saying that someone else could have maybe had a streak like that. I think with the Rock, kind of just what he's brought to the business as well. Kind of. I was talking about opening up doors. I mean, the Undertaker, yeah, you can say in wrestling, but what is it about the Undertaker that beats it? You would say both.
Just his whole character. I mean, the Undertaker character as a whole is irreplaceable.
I mean, you're never going to agree with me with The Rock, are you? So I'm not going to give it to the Undertaker. But the thing is, there's nothing I'm not convinced about it.
Okay.
I could masturbate this again and come up with the other. Yes, I understand the Undertaker with his debut is awesome, but with The Rock involved in it, it just seems like these two guys are completely different in that way as well. Anyway, next one. Oh, this will be a nice, easy one. Elimination Chamber or Hell in a Cell. I'll pick Hell in a Cell because I know you like chambers. So start us off with Elimination Chamber.
Well, as far as Elimination Chamber goes, it made its debut at Survivor Series in 2002. It produced a lot of memorable moments throughout the years, with The Undertaker getting scorched on his way to the ring and kind of getting water thrown on him while he was in his pod waiting to go.
Video.
To The Undertaker, I think he came up through the ring one time, didn't he?
That was
Edge.
Yeah, that was in Hell in a Cell.
Edge coming when Jericho beat Undertaker.
No,
that was Elimination Chamber.
But Edge also come out during the Hell in a Cell at Survivor Series as well in 2007. A match you voted one of the greatest matches as far as his history, and did exactly the same thing as he did at the Chamber.
Well, I think the Elimination Chamber's a better concept because it's not just two men. It's it is 6 guys, 6 of the best, and even going back to the first Elimination Chamber, I think it was a very memorable one. You had the likes of Rob Van Dam, Booker T, who else got a look in at that point at the moment, and then you had Shawn Michaels coming out on top, the ultimate redemption story.
Yeah, name me the other 3.
Triple H.
Yeah.
Kane.
Right.
Jericho.
Oh, you were lucky with that one, weren't you? So, but you talk about great 6-man. What about do you remember Armageddon 2000? The 6-1 Hell in a Cell match with Kurt Angle, with Rikishi, The Undertaker, and Triple H involved. Rikishi, of course, coming off that Hell in a Cell in a kind of.
Said Rikishi twice.
Who said Rikishi twice?
Yeah,
I said Rikishi. Of course,
come on, then. Who are the rest?
Undertaker sent Rikishi off the top. Remember that. You had The Rock, Austin, Triple H, and Kurt Angle.
Oh,
what a 6 that is. Compared to your 6, so you had Hell in a Cell. The most famous call of all time. WWE have said the most famous call in the history of wrestling is Mick Foley being thrown off the Hell in the Cell, Dan. Not the Elimination Chamber. There'd be more great matches than Triple H. I say Triple H. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker first Hell in a Cell match. The classic of Mankind. We've had great Hell in a Cell matches as we've gone along, and with chamber matches. When's the last chamber we've had? They're not doing them anymore and still doing Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I'll give you the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. I knew you didn't want to argue that. Killed him. Ba-boom. Alright, next one. Greatest Soul Survivor. I'm still not sure either. Randy Orton or Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to say Dolph Ziggler's the greatest Soul Survivor, Dan. You're going to go Randy. I think you're going to cut me to pieces. I'm going to say I'll start, I think, because Ziggler's a great Soul Survivor. Orton's got a lot of facts and stuff like that with him, but I'm going to say Ziggler, just in the fact that his performance at Survivor Series when Sting debuted, I think it's 2014, is one of the greatest performances that anybody's ever had, and him being a Soul Survivor gave everybody hope that isn't the first time he's a sole survivor either. Dolph Ziggler has done it before. Is there anybody else in WWE that we can get behind as a guy who's not been used right? He's tweeted out and said he's not been treated right for Money in the Banks, and he's not been treated right for other things. And yet, at Survivor Series, we all got behind him and thought maybe if anybody could do it, it's Dolph Ziggler. And you think about the performance, you think about the greatest Survivor Series performance and the sole survivor moment, then that would be Ziggler at Survivor Series when Sting debuted. That is the greatest time as a sole survivor.
Well, with Randy Orton, you could kind of call him a Survivor Series legend in general because he has been like a survivor in a lot of Survivor Series matchups, has he not?
Yes.
And more often than not, Randy Orton is a survivor.
Yes.
He's he's had the better career in general.
In general.
I just don't know where to start, to be honest. I mean, he's been part of some of the greatest Survivor Series teams, including this year's Survivor Series team as well.
Yeah, but when you think about a moment, a performance of Randy, if you can name me a Randy Orton performance at Survivor Series, then fair enough. But that Dolph Ziggler performance means that I talk about as a sole survivor, Ziggler comes out on top.
I wouldn't say that though, because you know he's dominated a lot more Survivor Series than Dolph Ziggler. I mean, he's been more reliable throughout Survivor Series than anyone else. You know, he's.
Are you trying to buy time?
I'm not trying to buy time. I mean, just going back to 2003, Team Bischoff versus Team Austin, for example. I mean, he was just finding his stride, and he came out to be part of the Evolution, and he was chosen as one of the 5 to represent Team Bischoff against Team Austin.
Yeah, and that was a great performance, but that wasn't as good as Dolph Ziggler's performance when Sting returned.
Why is that then?
What do you mean why? Because I said to you, the blood, sweat and tears, nobody get behind Dolph Ziggler. Nobody get behind Randy Orton. Randy Orton, you know, yeah, he's been a sole survivor a couple of times, but, you know, it's not nothing like that performance with Dolph Ziggler, is it?
Well, you know, I would say that Orton is Mr. Survivor Series, so, you know, it's just something that's going to be said, isn't it, really? What has Dolph Ziggler done?
If you can tell me 3 times Randy Orton's been a sole survivor, then I'll give this to you.
Team Raw versus Team Smackdown at 2005.
Right.
Team Orton versus Team Triple H at 2003 or 2004.
Might be 2004, yeah.
And Team Bischoff versus Team Austin.
Okay, another one apart from the one you already mentioned.
Why are you...
No, because I'm
How many more times has Dolph Ziggler done it then?
Dolph Ziggler's done it another time, but I can't remember right now. So say
okay,
I can't remember.
Team Orton versus Team Kofi.
What, when he buried Kofi Kingston like that? It's disgusting, isn't it, burying someone like that? I mean, it's what they're doing.
Still done it though, didn't he?
Yeah. Alright, I'm going to give it to you then, Dan.
And Team Raw versus Team Smackdown as well, 2016.
I'm glad your Google's working. So, you know, I'll give you that. But I just got one more, right? But it was just a little thing. And I wanted to do a difference who had better career prospects between Jake Hager and Drew McIntyre. And I want to make a point. I'm going to pick Jake Hager, but Dan, why don't you start off with Drew McIntyre? Tell me why he's got better career prospects than Jake Hager.
Well, when he first debuted in WWE, he was known as the chosen one, handpicked by Vince McMahon to go on to greatness. Didn't quite live up to that potential. So, after flitting around and being part of 3MB, he decided, fuck it, I'm going to go off, make a name for myself. And he did just that. He went off, made a name for himself, completely changed his whole persona. You know, he wasn't a clean-shaven guy. You know, he had a bit of a beard going on. He'd put on a few muscle pounds. Came back, went through NXT, absolutely dominated during his time in NXT. And, now it is just inevitable that he is going to get a very huge push coming up sometime soon.
Look, couple of things. First off, right, it's inevitable he's going to get a push. Who are the two champions right now? Universal Champion is The Fiend. WWE Champion is Brock Lesnar. They are two heels. Two heels that should hold the title for quite a while. Then it's going to switch to a face, obviously, to get the job done. The face is going to hold the title. If he's beating someone like Lesnar or The Fiend, he's going to have a substantial title run. So that means McIntyre, in this time, for a year and a half maybe, won't have an opportunity at either World Heavyweight Champion. Would you say that's fair enough right now?
I would say that's fair enough at this moment.
Right at this moment. So that's another year and a half due to injuries. As we know, anything can happen in injuries and everything like this. Just kind of working and anything like that. The reason I say Jake Hager's got better career prospects is because if you look at where he is now, he's a guy also back in the day they thought he was going to be great. Came in, was the ECW champion, much like the NXT champion of its day, yes? When ECW was around with Jack Swagger in it. Jack Swagger has done something Drew McIntyre hasn't done, and that is be World Heavyweight Champion. Another establishment in WWE. He's been World Heavyweight Champion, Drew McIntyre hasn't. Jack Swagger went away and then changed his name back. Jake Hager went to MMA with Bellator. We know how WWE loves their fighters with Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. And then Bellator and AEW have the same thing with Jake Hager. We don't want to wrestle a lot because he's still fighting. So we Jericho. But you imagine a time where the champion is calling out Jake Hager and Hager finally snaps and takes out Jericho, which you know is going to happen. And then suddenly you've got a face in Jake Hager. The more potential of him going down. If that was Drew McIntyre in that position, imagine what would happen then with McIntyre picking up the ball from that and moving on. Jake Hager's got more opportunity and career prospects than he has. Imagine Drew McIntyre sitting there waiting for his moment. I'm definitely going to be a champion. It's better to be a has-been down than never was.
But on that basis, you're saying that if he's could become AEW champion, you've got to look at it, right? AEW now, and they pride themselves on this, go on a win-loss record. They come out with their power rankings every Friday, and Jake Hager hasn't had a single match, so his rating is 0-0. Yeah, he's not won a single match. There are multiple wrestlers. It's my turn to speak. Give me a chance. There are multiple wrestlers that are on that list at the moment. Yeah, and, if we're going to go on the same basis, if the heel champion is going to lose it, he's going to lose it to a face champion. And to beat Les Champions, you're going to have a little run with it as well. Jericho, he's not going to drop the ball too soon on it because, he is a really hot thing. Whether you love him or you hate him, Chris Jericho gets a huge response. Jake Hager, he's nothing but a heavy, he's nothing but a manager, and he's nothing but just a member of the inner circle that's not going to get a chance for a long time coming, because we know one thing about Chris Jericho is he works better when he's got someone by his side, be it Kevin Owens, be it The Big Show, be it anyone at all.
And what happens at the end of all of that, Dan? They turn on each other and they have the eventual match. There is going to be, I bet you any money, Jake Hager becomes more relevant than Drew McIntyre, obviously. What has McIntyre done since NXT coming up to the main roster? What has he won? What has he achieved? You don't even want the Andre more Battle Royal, right? He's done nothing since then. And they're saying to us, this is going to be it. They're not saying it with Jake Hager. They're just sitting there. It's the same with that Wardlow in AEW. It's the same guy of being in that position. With McIntyre, he's happy to be. McIntyre needs to be in that, someone like AEW. Imagine in a position of someone like Pac. I'm not saying replace Pac with him, but you can just imagine this kind of psychopath involved, what he can bring in the ring as well. I think it's unfair for McIntyre to be, but WWE, they keep dangling this carrot. It's going to happen soon, and then something else always happens. Oh, hang on, McIntyre, we were going to give you the title, but actually we're going to bring back fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin again and give him a run with it.
Okay, so say for argument's sake that Drew McIntyre goes to NXT UK, defeats Walter back in his facey gimmick that he was in NXT.
Yeah.
Would that mean he'd be more successful in this time than Jake Hager?
No, because it's still NXT. The whole thing with McIntyre and the whole thing that we've been told as well is that British wrestling is important. We will have a WWE champion, which we never had. And, of course, WrestleMania will also point, which is never going to happen either in England. And this is the thing that we've seen. And McIntyre, I just don't want him to be there and, just to either get... Because the thing is, well, if he gets an opportunity, even in the end... and it doesn't work, then, be like The Miz or something as like a one-reign champion. He wants to be a multiple-time champion. With AEW, you can definitely see him. I think with Jake Hager, if it goes tits up with Bellator, then he could just come back to normal wrestling. That's what he's doing anyway. He said he's trying to build up his exposure and get into that and then try and turn. I'm not saying that Jake Hager's better than McIntyre. Just saying at the moment, if I was going to be one of the two, I'm sure maybe McIntyre's getting paid. I'm sure Jake Hager's getting paid quite a bit as well. I would rather be Jake Hager in this situation.
Okay, well, if you can tell me that Jake Hager is a better wrestler than Drew McIntyre, I'll give
it's
you
not
that
bad. I
point.
told you it's not about wrestling.
Yeah, but I'm willing to
If
concede
McIntyre
it.
was in Jake Hager's position,
No,
if Jake Hager was in
I'm willing
McIntyre's
to give you
position,
the win on this if you tell me that Jake Hager is better than Drew McIntyre.
but he's not though.
I know, but if you can tell me that in front
Okay,
of our live
Jake
audience,
Hager is a better wrestler than Drew McIntyre.
you have the point.
Oh, there we go. See, I knew. I don't. I will grovel for everything.
It was worth it just to hear you say that,
Yeah,
James.
prick. We're going to play a game, but I think it's a big enough game. Well, we're going to play Guess the Main Event for Survivor Series. So if I said to Dan, what was the main event for Survivor Series 2002, he would say to me...
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and then if he was to ask me a random Survivor Series, go on.
2006. Was
that
that not the one we'd rehearsed?
No,
Sorry.
97. 2006. I really wouldn't have a clue either. What would we go for in 2000? Do you know, when I try and think of stuff, I always try and think of the WrestleMania, either before or that's 2006 WrestleMania 22. So you had King Booker versus Batista versus Lashley in an ECW versus WWE versus... But please say I'm right. So you've gone and check it.
I'm just...
Main event, 2006.
Now.
Come on, King Booker.
King Booker was there,
Yeah.
and he went against Batista.
Yeah.
And it was the last chance match for the World Heavyweight Championship. If King Booker had gotten disqualified or counted out, he would have lost the title.
Wow. So that's not bad, is it, really? I'll give myself that. So, Dan, if I was to say to you what was the main event of Survivor Series 1999, you would say to me...
Deadly Game!
That's 1998. We
close.
just watched 99 20 minutes ago.
Triple threat match, Triple H, The Rock, and The Big Show.
Yeah, and then if Dan said, ask me another year.
2007.
Why do you keep going 2000s for? That's an awful time. That's my weakness. So, fuck knows. 2007.
I know it without even looking at Google.
You know it.
It's when Edge
2007. Edge returns. Undertaker vs Batista. Hell in a Cell World Heavyweight title.
Hey.
Oh, thank God. I think it was Shawn Michaels Randy Orton that year as
Because
well.
Edge is on the cover of the DVD and he's not listed in a match, so you think, what's going on?
All right, so one last one to try and get the point. Main event of Survivor Series 2018.
2018. Last year, Raw versus Smackdown.
Yeah, what was it? What was it?
Men's.
Men's. I actually have no idea what the main event was.
Wasn't it when Braun Strowman made Triple H shit himself because Triple H turned his back on Team SmackDown?
I did.
Shane McMahon involved in it.
First Survivor Series we recorded. 2015.
2015, yeah.
So that would have been Seth Rollins. Our memory's really... People listen to this going, you don't know anything about wrestling. That's bad.
Well, we have seen so much wrestling that it all just meshes into one.
To be fair with Survivor Series, out of all the big four, which one would you get rid of? It would be Survivor Series, wouldn't it?
SummerSlam.
What?
Well, Survivor Series, it's kind of got the traditional Survivor Series elimination match, so you can't get rid of that. Royal Rumble, it's kind of got the Royal Rumble match, so you couldn't really get rid of that. And WrestleMania, well,
SummerSlam's the WrestleMania of the summer. That's how you know.
What, a few months after WrestleMania?
Yeah, I love SummerSlam.
If I had to live without one, it would be SummerSlam.
Fair enough.
Right, we move on to some network news, and the W Network, despite the bugs it has, is one of the best things to happen for WWE fans in quite a while when it works.
It contains every pay-per-view ever, every Raw and SmackDown in history, and hundreds of hours of original content, And until September, it hosted every NXT every Wednesday.
Well, something that hasn't been seen for a while on the network, knows the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, which debuted on the network in December 2014 with a blockbuster interview with Vince McMahon.
But that was then, and this is now, and it's going to be forever. It's going to be called Broken Skull Session, and it's going to have its first guest under the rebrand.
Well, it's The Undertaker will be the man on the end of Austin's questions as he returns to the network, and the episode will have been filmed and will air on November 24th, directly after Survivor Series tonight.
So, do you think it will be The Undertaker, or do you think it will be
Mark?
Hey Mark, goddamn kid, how you doing? Because I think they're going to be having a few whiskies.
Yeah,
a little bit of the whiskey.
Yeah, I hope
They both kind of,
It's not kayfabe.
unless he's like, Austin's like, goddamn kid, tell me what happened to your first match, and I think it's like, Kamala, you will.
I made him rest in peace.
Rest in peace. We talk about the network quickly and a few network picks. I've been watching shit like The Undertaker, He Buries Them Alive, which is an old Call of Fame classic, but it is very well worth it. The WWE All Nighter in 1995 is also something worth checking out. 4 hours and 35 minutes if you've got spare. And of course the WWE's Festival de Lucha, which is 2 hours long, and that was released January 27th, 1999 originally as well. But the network's still got a lot of bugs and stuff. But we got other news.
Yes.
Yeah, the network is now the home of 146 episodes of WWE Thunder after the final 19 episodes of the series were uploaded on the streaming service.
Well, WCW Thunder ran from January 98 to 2001 and originally aired on TBS as a second show of the promotion. WWE started uploading episodes of Thunder in March 2018, but only uploaded half of them in the beginning before adding more throughout the months after that.
Well, the addition of these episodes bring around 32 hours of more programming to the network. And Dan, you dropped a bombshell on me the other day when you said you had cancelled the WWE network.
Yes. Yeah, I tried to watch it and I hate anything that interrupts my viewing. Whether it's someone talking, someone chewing, just... anything going on, and whether it's not buffering. I've even turned off a film that had subtitles because it just really pissed me off. And the constant buffering on the network, I've got a very good fibre optic broadband connection. I've got a very fast speed, so I've got a very up-to-date computer system, so it can't be up to date. It is just down to the network, and it does bug the fuck out of me. And after them trying to shut us down, I've seen, fuck you, Vince, you're not having my £10 a month.
I've watched a lot less of the WWE network, and that's why we kind of went on a Sky binge, as it was kind of watching these, because the amount of I was shocked about the amount of wrestling on just kind of on digital. Do you know what I mean? Just like the kind of amount of hours, you've kind of got like 10 hours of stuff you can watch without having to pay that amount of money on Sky. And then, of course, you've got YouTube in place, and you talk about Amazon as well, as you go search for it.
Yeah, well, I've been watching a few on Amazon Prime. They've even got a great Kevin Steen shoot interview on there.
Yeah, exactly. And so it'll be interesting to go see. It's all sorts of stuff. But we will concentrate on the network because we've got the normal WWE kickoff on now, but we're still away from the event itself. So let's take a trip on the WWE network, and we've got something very special lined up right now. So we're going to do something a little bit different now. And, of course, it being Survivor Series, we like to celebrate Survivor Series' greatest moments. And we've done that, ranking our favourite Survivor Series matches and pay-per-views as well. But we're going to move on to be top 3 ridiculous moments from Survivor Series. I think we shall do that. And, of course, talk about the network. These are all available to watch on there. And we're going to start off. We've got top 3. And, of course, the top 3 leading towards the most ridiculous coming back next month. We do love most ridiculous, Dan, don't we? So
absolutely, it is very, very ridiculous, but it is fun and entertaining as well.
Well, without a doubt. So we're going to start off with number 3 on, and it is from Survivor Series 1994. which is the gift that keeps on giving in some ways. And it is the Dinks versus the Kings. Now, this is a feud between Joe the King Lawler and, of course, Doink the Clown. But we're going to be serious about this, Dan. I don't want to hear any jokes about it. It's only a short match. We're going to get on. It's going to be the Royal Family, which is cheesy, queasy, and sleazy with Jerry Lawler, versus the the Clowns Are Us, which is Pink and Wink the Clown. All right? So we're going to do this. We've tried it before, WrestleMania 3. We're going to see what happens here. All right? But we might skip forward a little bit as well. We just don't know. But we'll see what happens. What is your first outcome of the... I mean, what do you think of Little People, Dan?
I think they are... I'll say they. They are fun and entertaining. They just bring a bit of humour to wrestling. Obviously, they're up for it. So, it's harmless. I know it's something that would kind of get whitewashed nowadays. They would never air anything like this.
No, we're not going to shortchange him at all in this one. We're going to get right to it, It's kind of these things that we're going to be serious. I mean, because some people, little people in the past have had problems. Some people have tried to commit suicide by jumping off curbs. So this is the type of problem that we have, and we're not going to say, because I've been friends with some. You always seem laughing, don't you, playing football? And the reason is the grass tickles their balls. So you're going to have.
Well, I did used to go out with a short woman, and she used to get really angry. So I said, "Look, love, calm down, and I'll run you a nice sink later."
Yeah, sometimes you have to say to him, just be a little patient, just try and move on.
That's it, yeah.
Just say to him, But we're not going to do anything like that, because that's just not fair, is it? And most little people are good guys because they don't look down on most people, do they? So that is important to see, especially in a match like this. But Survivor Series 94, one of my favourite pay-per-view events. And what do you think of Doink and Jerry Lawler, Dan? What are your thoughts on these? Try and give us some
Well, James, Doink, he was part of my favourite ever WrestleMania. He went against Crush. And there was not one Doink, James, there was two Doinks. And that is just mirror magic.
I know, it's mirror magic. I mean, and talk about the Doinks that we've got. We've got so many of the little ones on the side there, and it's funny. I did see Doink the Clown I did see Dink, we were broken down car the other day, and I asked him, and I said, "You're right." He said, "I'm not happy." And I said, "Which one are you?" None of that at all.
Well, I actually see one of them, and he was struggling carrying something out of Curry's. I said, "Do you want a hand with your widescreen telly?" He's like, "Fuck off, it's an iPad."
That happened to me the other day when I was playing miniature golf, or as he called it, golf. It's interesting times. But the Survivor Series, it's just about celebrating fun in professional wrestling. And the Thanksgiving tradition is always here,
With Jerry the King Lawler, he was never a serious wrestler, I suppose you could say. Nor was Doink, so, these two silly comedic style wrestlers. And, it's just crazy how Doink's evolved into the Fiend.
That's kind of what it is, isn't it? I mean, this is the scary character of his time. And Jerry the King Lawler, of course, he's going to try and be a part of his team, and he's going to start off the beginning. But we'll skip forward to some of the good stuff. Who doesn't want to see little people wrestle? Might see some tossing.
1994, eh? What a year.
25 years ago. Can you believe 25 years ago, Survivor Series, this is what was going on?
And what have we got this year? Well, Lawler's going to go off against one of the little people, and he's on the shoulders of Doink, and Dink's on Doink's shoulders.
Yeah, Dink means business. Oh, wait a minute, though.
That's queasy. Is he going to climb on Jerry the King Lawler's shoulders? No, he's saying you're just going to get in on your own.
No, he's not. Jerry the King Lawler's going to get on his shoulders, and that's equality for you. And has he got enough power?
Well, he falls and plants Jerry face first into the mat. And Jerry, getting pissed off, throws him out of the ring. Well, I think Queasy was actually the dwarf among midgets.
It seems that way. I mean, to pick up the weight of the king.
Well, Jerry got a handful of something.
No, Jerry's just got past saying maybe a foreign object.
He's calling Doink for a test of strength and clocks him with a huge right and then puts the foreign object back in his pants.
Well, it's weird because Dink originally didn't want to be a wrestler, he wanted to be a chef, but apparently the stakes were too high for him. So he had to move on. And now, oh, look at this. This is Sneezy and Cleasy.
John Cleasy.
Never seem to remember anything either. They've always got short-term memories, haven't they? And now we can see Triple Team.
Oh, no, but the king accidentally gets thrown into him after Doink reverses the Irish whip.
Oh, are we going to see a bit of action on the outside?
I saw one of these fellas drowning the other day, so I threw him a polo. And now the short people are getting chased around the ring. I want to play the Benny Hill theme.
Well, it looks that way at the moment. Action's all over the place.
As Doink and Jerry the King Lawler facing off in the ring. Jerry rolls through on a crossbody, grabs a handful of tights and gets the victory for the King's Court. Oh no, Doink's been eliminated.
Yes, it's a Survivor Series match, elimination. So now it's the King versus the Clowns. But no Doink. And they've got no chance, surely, in this one.
Oh, don't call me Shirley.
I've got to admit, though, I did. I quite like, Little People as it was, and I did have a prostitute once, and I told her to go up on me. And Doink is out of this one. She's out of here.
Well, one of these short people ran through my girlfriend's legs and got a clip round the ear.
Yeah, it looks like one of he's looks a bit chunky, one of them, or low fat as it was. Dink's in a little bit of trouble.
And a Clown's biting one of the King's Court's backsides.
Well, Dink said the money he's got for this one he's going to put all into the piggy bank. And now he's going to look to do some business, but being bitten. The King's checking.
Oh, and the King gets bitten.
Well, it's got to be quick tags. Short time in there. And Queasy is in a bit of trouble after the bite.
Cheesy's going against
Wink.
Wink.
And Wink's got hold of him. Tags in Dink. Oh!
He must have come from at least 15 foot there.
He must have been flying almost. At least 20 feet. He's had a nose. High risk is off the bottom rope. Now, winking. And this is what we paid to see, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and the King cheating. That's not fair. And now into the cover without the King. Wink's gone.
And Jerry Lawler is standing tall in this match.
They got a lot of work to do now.
Do you reckon the King's got the upper hand?
It definitely looks that way. But, of course, you've got Dink and Warwick Davis in there. No, sorry. Well, we can't confirm or deny because he's got makeup on. And look at this.
Absolutely. It looks like Hornswoggle's dad's in there.
And I can confirm one of them is not Dean Malenko, just in case.
Or Crash Hollow.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Look at that. High suplex. Cheesy, Creasy, all working as a well-oiled team.
Creasy's in there. He's turning him into a spinning top.
Oh, no. Now he's got him up in the air.
Oh. He must have fallen at least 12 foot.
At least 15 feet, and he eliminates him.
And now it's all the King's Court against one of Doink's Clowns.
Well, can Dink survive for the odds here? Will he be the sole survivor? Well, if anybody can do it, it's Dink. Well, he went underneath the ring as he was leaving.
Well, it is the short person's natural habitat. I mean, it's where his wife is just about to give birth to Hornswoggle.
Yeah, not a lot of people know, but little people in wrestling don't have locker rooms. They're underneath the ring, basically.
They can stand up under there.
Yes, they can. They have lots of ladders and tables and stuff, so they have lots of room. And now we go Dink, fighting the odds. And this is one of the greatest Survivor Series moments of all time.
I hope Dink's a sole survivor.
Oh, come on now. He's got Cheesy and Wheezy.
A meeting of the minds. Their heads are the same size, but their bodies are a lot smaller.
My God, and Jordan Devlin takes a shot to the face. And now Dink's going to put him out. Suplex. Jackhammer. Oh, my God, he's going up.
He's still going up.
He's up.
Flying cross. 1, 2,
3. Oh, no, King stopped it. And now King behind saying, come on.
He gets turned around. 1, 2, 3.
Ah.
And the King's Court get the victory.
Well, the King cheated, and Dink can't believe it. And again, he just goes back
home.
Back home, under the ring. Well, that's a shame, but the King wins with the King's Court, and a great job, you would say, by Sleazy, Wheezy, and Cheesy. But the King wants the microphone.
As if the King's speech.
Well, yeah. Oh, and the King saying to him, he made winners of you losers. Get your hands down and kiss my boot. Oh, my God.
He's sending them to the corner.
I'm sure they're feeling a little downtrodden at the moment. And the King saying he's done it all himself.
But the three short people are in the ring celebrating, holding their hands high. Well, it's high for them.
Yeah, at least 4 foot.
At least half foot.
And the King is not happy about these 3 guys.
Well, he's sending them all out the ring. And he calls for his music to be played yet again.
Look how excited the children are at ringside, you know?
No, they're the midgets, James.
Sorry, that's King's Court. But they get a victory. Oh,
no. Which one is he then? Dopey, Grumpy, Sleepy, Bashful, Doc?
Well, he's going to catch him now. But it is 3-on-1. But the King
No.
don't seem scared.
There's the other 3 clowns are us as well.
And it's 6-on-1.
Abuse you.
And now we got 6 people. The King's trying to get out of the way. Hopefully he'll be able to outrun them. The King getting chased around the ring. It is one of the greatest Survivor Series moments of all time.
How can you say this is ridiculous?
What's wrong with this? I don't understand.
Well, King's had to slow down because he's getting too far ahead.
Oh, the King's going to try.
Oh, Doink the Clown's behind him though.
King doesn't realise.
And this is the first cream pie on WWF television. Going to come up, not starring China or Paige.
Oh. And the King with a pie to the face.
The old facey pie.
Well, little people have a last laugh here tonight. King's cool and clowns are us. That is just so children's television. Dan, what are your thoughts on that moment?
Absolutely ridiculous. No, it is a good bit of comic relief. It's something that's never, ever, ever going to wash nowadays in telly. I mean, you know, I think the odd sporadic appearance from Hornswoggle's probably as much as we're going to get from the short people's comic relief. But it was fun and entertaining.
Yeah,
you know.
it was really enjoyable, actually. We'll move on next, and it's number 2.
2.
And, well, it would be a miss. If it weren't ridiculous moments at Survivor Series, this would definitely be it. And number 2 from Survivor Series 1990. The 2 words, well, 1 word describes this. Gobble gobble would be the equivalent one.
So it's nothing to do with the debut of The Undertaker.
No. Survivor Series 1990, of course, that moment, but more famously, for me,
29 years ago.
29 years. So who... This egg had appeared at Survivor Series. We weren't sure what it was.
Is it a debut of a new wrestler?
Who would it be? Well, like you talk about The Undertaker, he would be in an egg that he would make his debut. Would it maybe be Terry Taylor? Mean Gene, and Mean Gene, a legend. He will be missed, and he's selling the best he can. Talk about children's era. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
Whoa. It can crack. So what do you think's in the egg, Dan?
I think it's a supermodel.
Supermodel. I think it's a dead chicken.
Well, what did come first, James? The chicken or the egg?
Well, we're going to find out here tonight. It looks like the egg. Oh, Mean Gene's got to stand back.
That was the key word, blow.
Blow!
When I say blow, come out the egg.
And what the hell is this? And Roddy Piper on commentary is pissing himself laughing. And the fans so happy.
But they're booing with delight.
And Mean Gene's like, what the fuck is this? Is it the worst costume ever?
I believe so.
It's just ridiculous. It's like, this is what the list was made for.
Well, Mean Gene must have found out his name somehow or other, even though the thing can't speak, but his name is the Gobbledygooker, or its name is the Gobbledygooker.
So I think Mean Gene's, it's his fault that it was called the Gobbledygooker. What are you gobbling about?
Yeah. But, you know, again, credit to Mean Gene Oakland. He's trying to interview something that doesn't talk and trying to get the best out of it and trying to make the... I don't know what the fuck it is.
it's definitely a turkey.
Yes.
But the problem is, around this time of year...
Turkey's gone get eat.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's how it should have ended.
Yeah. Same for earthquake and typhoon munching on its fucking arms and legs.
Turkey on a pole match. Mean Gene asking, is that all you do is gobbling? Well, Gobbledygooker's just asked Mean Gene to do something. He's not up for it. He wants to dance. I'm pretty sure, I'm trying memory, I think it might be Hector Guerrero is the Gobbledygooker.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm going to check that in a second. But he wants to dance with Mean Gene, and Mean Gene can definitely dance.
Oh, yeah. He can go. Wasn't his last appearance... Oh, WrestleMania. I want to say 15 or 16 in the Gimmick Battle Royal.
Yeah, 17 he was in the...
17?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's close. Yeah, I think that was his last appearance I can remember.
My God. So he was signed to WWE, given this gimmick. Obviously, it didn't work at Survivor, so was then fired straight away for it. So,
okay.
And it wasn't mentioned for 10 years, like he said, and then it showed up at WrestleMania 17. He did go on to commentate for Impact Wrestling. So at least he had some success. Of course, you know, being a Guerrero.
I think I'd rather have been dressed up in a Gobbledygooker outfit than commentate for Impact Wrestling, but, you know, that's just me.
That's fair enough. And he's going to be lucky enough to dance with Mean Gene. Is he, accosting Mean Gene at the moment in time?
It does look like Mean Gene is being dragged against his will.
Yeah. Wow, impressive there by Mr. Gooker.
He prefers if you call him Gobbledy.
Gobbledy. His friends call him Gobbledy, and now he wants Mean Gene to get in. And I wonder how much Mean Gene Oakland got paid for all this. It was worth it, I suppose. And the fans saying, please, no. And Piper and Gorilla on commentary trying their best, bless them.
Well, Gene is in the ring, and he's doing crisscrosses with Mean Gene. He's not into it, though. There's about 4 fans in the crowd dancing along with it. Oh. Mean Gene's feeling the... He's
had a couple and he's ready.
Now Gooker's running the ropes.
And he wants Mean Gene to do that, just rolled and flipped
And
up.
he says, no, I'm just going to clap you.
Well, Mean Gene said, you dare me to do that?
He's like, go on, you do it. Oh, and Gene's running the ropes.
Oh.
He trips himself over. I think he's broke. But there's a little fact here about Mean Gene. He was actually bald from the age of 5 years old.
Really? I did not know that. Goes into the only the second man in the WNR Hall of Fame, alongside, of course, Alex Wright.
No, not Alex Wright. Alex Wright's penis.
Oh, his penis is that?
Alex Wright is only by extension to the penis.
And a long extension is that.
Exactly.
And gobbledygook likes that. Wow, that was what was in the egg.
He's loving it.
Yeah! The gobbledygooker, and quite rightly at number 2 as well.
2! The fans are starting again, so I think they're just like, if we cheer, maybe he'll fuck off.
That's what I feel like sometimes.
Hey, you're well funny, James. Go on, off you go.
Yeah. Well, gobbledygook. Oh my god, and he's already molting.
Oh, now Gene's into it properly now. He's doing a crisscrossing as well as he can.
Well, maybe the greatest 7 minutes of Mean Gene's WWE career.
I mean, it's a surprise that no one remembers this. With the debut of The Undertaker, this bit does get overlooked.
It does, doesn't it, Hang on, one more thing. Gobbledygook is going up.
Is he looking for a flying crossbody? Oh, he's flipping over the top rope into a roly-poly. Now Mean Gene's turn. No, Mean Gene's saying, look, I'm going to call it now.
Can I try and get you over? Well, Mean Gene with the gobbledygooker. Anything can happen at Survivor Series. Dan, what are your final thoughts on the gobbledygooker?
I am amazed that this character didn't work.
It is unbelievable. And it is most definitely ridiculous. All right, last one on the list. We go back to the gift that keeps on giving, Survivor Series 1994. And the story leading up to this main event was indeed The Undertaker versus Yokozuna. They feuded in January over the WWF Championship. The Undertaker come out short in a casket match due to the interference of at least 15 people, Dan.
At least 25 people.
Who put The Undertaker inside the casket. So once he returned at Survivor Series, the question was, what would stop everybody getting involved in this match again? There was only one man who would have the power. And at number 1, Survivor Series 1994, the most ridiculous moment in the WWF is Chuck fucking Norris.
And I dare you to say that to his face.
If he's asking, then it's going to be the greatest moment in Survivor Series history. But to have someone like Chuck Norris here is just, kind of legendary, I suppose. Not just a referee, Dan. A troubleshooting referee. Chuck Norris is all. I know you love Chuck Norris. Well,
you get referees, but they just couldn't classify Chuck Norris as a referee. He is a troubleshooting referee.
And look at that, all splendour, cowboy hat, a cute.
Did you know that someone tried to boo him and Chuck Norris has already ripped his throat out?
Really, I did not know that. Chuck Norris.
Now, there are a few things about Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris. He can pick oranges from an apple tree and make the best tasting lemonade you've ever had.
I know you got lots of facts about Chuck Norris. I know you know a lot, so I know you're a huge fan as he comes out with Pat Patterson. And surely there'll be no trouble here tonight.
Well, don't call me Shirley, but if anyone dares start trouble, they're already dead, James, before they even think about starting trouble. And, this man... He beat Halo 1, 2 and 3 on Legendary with a broken Guitar Hero controller. I mean, what?
I just don't sometimes know.
I did have an imaginary friend when I was younger called Gobby, and Chuck Norris killed him.
That's a shame. I mean, Chuck Norris is good and bad, I suppose, but he's here to make sure there's no shenanigans that go down. And shaking the referee's hand, and now we're going to get Undertaker and Yokozuna coming out here.
Well, this actually happened just after Chuck Norris's daughter lost his virginity, and he shortly got it back for her.
We see Yokozuna coming out here, and of course he'll be wary of Chuck Norris and the Undertaker.
Oh, James, when Bruce Banner gets mad, he turns into the Hulk. When the Hulk gets mad, he turns into Chuck Norris. And when Chuck Norris gets mad, run.
Run. I mean, all joking aside, the Undertaker coming out here is such an awesome entrance, especially at a Survivor Series. When we talk about he debuted in 1990, and of course it's 29 years. And I wouldn't bet against him being at Survivor Series next year to mark the 30th appearance. There's only one man that is not intimidated at the moment by the Undertaker coming out here.
And that is Chuck Norris.
That
And
is Chuck
the
Norris.
man, the reason that Wally is... I mean, Chuck Norris sleeps with a pillow under his gun.
Yeah, I did not. You know, see, these few things I don't know.
His blood type, AK-47.
This is just fascinating. I mean, it must be difficult, but Paul Bearer out here with the Undertaker, and of course looking on, and Chuck Norris is going to make sure nothing goes down.
Exactly. Chuck Norris could make sure nothing goes up, James. Did you know that Chuck Norris is the only person that can punch a Cyclops in between the eyes?
No, I did not. I know he's actually is quite good, but I'm quite surprised by that. It's amazing how much Chuck Norris can do, really, you know?
It is. Well, you know, another thing that he can do. It is considered a great accomplishment to go down Niagara Falls in a wooden barrel. Chuck Norris can go up Niagara Falls in a cardboard box.
So Chuck Norris keeping an eye out for anybody that might cause. He's done a good job so far.
But someone is, in fact, making their way down to ringside.
Looks like it's King Kong Bundy.
Well, he's going to be King Kong Balls if he's going to come face to face with Chuck Norris.
There's one thing you don't want to do is mess with Chuck Norris. I think King Kong Bundy realises it now.
Well, Chuck Norris was once on Celebrity Wheel of Fortune and was the first to spin. Next 29 minutes of the show was consisted of everyone standing around awkwardly waiting for the wheel to stop.
And now Bam Bam Bigelow coming down. And Bam Bam wants some.
Well, Bam Bam, he mustn't have heard that Chuck Norris once uppercutted a horse, and that's where drafts came from.
And these two big men, I mean, the weight between them, at least 800 pounds.
At least £100.
And the action in the ring is still going on, but everybody's just looking at Chuck Norris. Oh, wait a minute, IRS is in the ring. He's attacking the Undertaker. Chuck Norris can't see it. And the $1 million man in this corporation just dominate the Undertaker now. Well, the casket lid's raised as well, so Chuck Norris can't see over that.
Well, IRS has successfully choked out the Undertaker and deposited him in the casket.
And now you've seen all he's got to do, shut the casket lid, and the victory's his. And Undertaker is out.
And that is one huge casket as well. It's got to fit Yokozuna in it if he does indeed go into it at any point.
But Yokozuna can't even get up. Now Yokozuna going to lean over. Yoko unsteady, but going to shut the coffin.
No, Undertaker's managed to rise out of the coffin, grab Yokozuna round the throat.
And look of shock on Yokozuna's face. And here comes Jeff Jarrett.
He decides to confront Chuck Norris.
Oh!
He super kicked Jeff Jarrett so hard that he's left soul to the great beyond.
Well, not only that, I think he left for WCW straight after. Didn't want to get any of Chuck Norris. And then when Chuck Norris appeared on Nitro, he left Nitro. And now the Undertaker, a huge uppercut on Yokozuna. Yokozuna reversed the Irish whip, but Undertaker building up a head of steam. And a DDT, and Yokozuna don't know where he is.
Undertaker sits up. Yokozuna struggling to get to his feet. Big boot to Yokozuna, who falls straight into the casket.
Well, the Undertaker's got a Japanese flag.
Snaps it over his knee. Throws it in the casket with Yokozuna. And slams the casket shut.
And the Undertaker wins. He points at Chuck Norris, says, "The only reason I won is thanks to you," which is true now looking at it.
Indeed, yes, Yokozuna was indeed too scared to get up in case he did come too close to Chuck Norris.
And it is a ridiculous moment as the Undertaker buries Yokozuna and finally gets redemption, all thanks to Chuck Norris.
Indeed, yes, as Paul Bearer holds the biggest urn. I think it must be the urn that contains the ashes of Yokozuna.
And you can see Chuck Norris looking on. He means business.
Well, Chuck Norris is going to throw The Undertaker a party, and I mean, he is literally going to throw a party. While The Undertaker was younger, he was playing in the sand. Chuck Norris used to play in concrete.
Well, that is Chuck Norris, and that is the top 3 most ridiculous moments in Survivor Series history. So, what do you think, Dan? Are they ridiculous enough for you?
Absolutely ridiculous, yeah. I mean, Chuck Norris, I understand why he didn't get in the ring, because it wouldn't have been a match, would it?
No, it would have been a mauling. It would have been unfair. But that is it. And, of course, that's building towards we're going to have a most ridiculous next month. That will be back. And what a cracker time we'll have for you then. But now back to Survivor Series 2019. We're going to... A lot of things have just happened on the kickoff show for Survivor Series. We've got a couple of bonus matches, as it was. We've got the Tag Team Battle Royal that we'll get onto in just a second. But later tonight, the Cruiserweight title is on the line, with Leo Rush defending as well. But we're not going to count these as prediction points, because WWE don't care enough, do they?
No. We're going back to... I think it was a year or two ago when they had Raw doing the clean sweep. I think SmackDown won on the kickoff, and they said, it don't count.
Yeah, I mean, but that we like, Heavy Machinery, Ziggler and Rude, Street Profits, and a lot of other teams as well. If you were going to say someone at the moment, who would you go for?
I could never discredit Big Doze and Tucker. I'll go for Heavy Machinery all day long.
Well, I thought it was going to be Imperium, but they got eliminated, so I'm going to say the Revival, and then see how long they last. And of course, like I say, Leo. Wait.
Otis has just been eliminated.
Maybe not going to last. But this is interesting now, because it means the matches even up, and it can be 2-2-2 as they head into the main event match, which I suppose they were always going to do anyway. So, Dan, if you're ready, let's run through this card that we've got. And we'll start with a no-holds-barred match for the W title, Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar. How do you think this is going to go?
I think we're never going to see Rey Mysterio again after this match. No, I think the no-holds-barred match works in Rey Mysterio's favour. That could be seen as a plus, and Brock Lesnar works better with smaller guys and people he respects, which Rey Mysterio is both of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a track record at Survivor Series as well, hasn't he, recently, with people like Daniel Bryan and, of course, AJ Styles. So maybe we'll see that in this match here tonight. Do you think it will be... it could be interesting. A number of factors could come into play. Maybe we might see Cain Velasquez.
Cain Velasquez. We could see Dominic. We could see a complete different surprise. You don't know. You can always try and expect the unexpected, so to say.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been interesting. I mean, yeah, Dominic accidentally costing his dad, and then maybe the feud continue. I don't want Lesnar to win and then disappear again and come back rumbled, you know?
Okay, so fantasy booking, what would be your best outcome for this match?
My best outcome for this match, Lesnar wins in 10 minutes after really good back and forth. And then Lesnar, he's going to take December off anyway, and then Rumble have another challenger.
Yep, yeah,
that's my best case, and there's nothing, you know.
That doesn't sound like it's a fantasy booking. That seems more like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
My fantasy booking would be Rey Mysterio to win clean without the help of Dominic, without the help of Cain Velasquez. No, I'm just saying my fantasy booking. I think Rey Mysterio, he's a tenured wrestler. He's been around for a while, and I think that would be how I'd like to see it going down.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It has potential to be a good match, but it has a potential to be over in a couple of minutes as well, with Lesnar just a couple of suplexes and an F5. I hope it doesn't happen that way. And then the Universal title match, Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend. This is very much kind of similar in a weird way, isn't it?
It is. Again, it is the underdog Daniel Bryan going against a rejuvenated Fiend in Bray Wyatt. These two guys have got a lot of history together, going back years and years from when Daniel Bryan kind of infiltrated the Wyatt family and suckered them in with a ruse, managing to get to the inside and then kind of defeating Bray Wyatt from the inside. Something that happened later on in time with Randy Orton as well. Again, something I'd like to see is Daniel Bryan getting battered throughout the whole thing. Kind of urging himself in, just yes, coming back and either getting the victory or coming as close as anyone could ever come to Fiend in a defeat.
The Fiend has to be careful because after a while of no selling, it needs to go in a kind of Undertaker territory as it was of the way he did it. He didn't ruin moves, did he? It was just kind of after he took a move, that was when he first got up, and that's what the Fiend kind of has to learn with this thing. And I think Daniel Bryan's one that can definitely work with it. Bryan can put hurting on him and maybe work the Fiend in a different way that we've seen Seth Rollins do, attacking the arm or the leg in that way. Has this storyline got potential, Dan? Has it got staying power? Would you want to see one and done?
I think it has got potential because, again, with some of the likes of Daniel Bryan, he certainly is a brilliant worker. I'm not sure kind of what Bray Wyatt's going to be able to do next after this. Is it just going to be another quick feud with someone else and then run on to the next one? Is it just going to be destroying people? I just don't know.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. The winner of the Battle Royal was Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. When has your man ever won anything like this? They actually get a trophy as well to celebrate them as the winner. Or is that the trophy that's going to be happening at the end of the night? I'm not sure, but they eliminated the Street Profits. Wasn't a bad match. Looked quite enjoyable, actually, for what it was. And they actually have got a counter at the bottom of the screen. And Smackdown has gone 1-0 up.
Yes.
Next match.
The next match is an NXT title match. Pete Dunne earned his place in this match last night, defeating Killian Dane and
Damian
Priest in a very, very good match. And he's going against the NXT champion, Adam Cole.
Baby. And you got quite strong views on this match of where it can be, what it can do.
Absolutely, yes. Adam Cole, he could come out, he could be, he could have a few cracked ribs, he could have a serious injury, even though he's been cleared to wrestle tonight, and Pete Dunne could utilise that, seeing as though he, compared to Adam Cole, is going to be fresh as a daisy for this match, isn't he?
He is, but I mean, it's got a chance to steal the show, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a huge match. We've never ever seen a bad Pete Dunne match, and Adam Cole, as much as he is a dickhead, I think he has ample talent in the ring.
Yeah, I think without doubt. I think it depends how they play and what happens, but I may be expecting Undisputed Era to get involved. Depends where they pull it. As long as it's not kickoff, I think that's fine. But it's great to see Pete Dunne getting on the WWE pay-per-view, isn't it? It's been too long for it to happen. Now finally we're going to see it.
Absolutely, yeah, and I hope it's not just a one and done thing for him for a while until he's done with NXT. I hope it could be a regular occurrence.
And then we've got the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch versus the Women's Champion Shayna Baszler for NXT, and of course SmackDown's Bayley as well. I think this match has potential to really put on a great show. I think Becky Lynch has been a fantastic Raw Women's Champion. She really has, carried herself. And even in the ratings, when the highest segments have been with Lynch in, Baszler has held the NXT torch quite well. And I've always been a fan of Bayley. These three women, if it gels tonight, could really have a great match, couldn't they? Absolutely,
yeah. I can kind of see Becky Lynch and Bayley, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing, going as two of the four horsewomen going against one of the horsewomen of MMA and kind of getting in Shayna Baszler's face. Will we see Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir to kind of even the numbers in their favour? Will we see Charlotte? Will we see Ronda Rousey?
Well, these are all questions.
I mean, Ronda Rousey, she's part of the women's MMA four horsewomen and she absolutely hates Becky Lynch. Happened at WrestleMania, so
yeah. And that would be an excellent point to move on to their feud, maybe leading to WrestleMania as well. Has Bayley been overlooked in the lead up to this? Has it been more about Lynch and Baszler?
Again, is this kind of coy booking? Is it like, well, we're going to focus mainly on Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler and completely discredit Bayley, and then the old shock zinger is Bayley's probably going to win it and get the pinfall victory.
Yeah, well, that's what I hope. So we'll see what happens, but like I said, it has true potential. Tonight, Depends how they do it. If it's standard WWE fare, it won't work. But if they add a little bit of NXT energy to it, it has potential to be a really good night. Next one is Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking War Raiders Experience versus the Undisputed Era versus the New Day.
Again, you just really don't know how this is going to go, do you? All of them, apart from Kofi Kingston, are kind of NXT alumni. So will that play a part of things? Viking Raiders haven't really been doing much of note, have they? They've been squashing local competitors. The Undisputed Era, we saw them last night in War Games. They got completely obliterated. Will they be 100%? New Day, they have a former WWE champion in their midst. Will that kind of mean something to them? And obviously the formidable force of Big E as well. Viking Raiders of War, Eric and Ivar. They're two big guys. Have they been discredited? Have they not done enough to warrant themselves?
Yeah, they've been put with jobbers too many times, haven't they? Just squashing opponents, which is good and fair. But when you're champions, you need to be defending the title a certain place. The New Day. This is going to be a perfect match for the New Day. This is what they're good at. Multi-man tag team matches and stuff like this is their bread and butter, so to speak. I'm upset what they've done with Kofi Kingston. And Kofi is a consummate professional and a company man. We talked about McIntyre earlier being a one-time champion if it ever happens. Kofi may never get another chance again. He's been given the tag team titles and he's got a smile on his face and just gone about his business. You talk about a real pro. That's why everybody respects Kofi Kingston for. And they have the ability, these three teams, to have great match here tonight if WWE kind of let them to it, The rival know Viking Raiders experience, not rival, the Undisputed Era know the Viking Raiders experience, and also with I think it should be a cracking match.
Absolutely, yeah. If they, the only thing that I'm kind of worried about throughout this whole card is where it's so stacked that either they're going to have to run the whole show for a very long time, or they're going to have to squeeze a few short matches, and I don't want them to kind of squeeze a short match out of an NXT wrestler because it's not how they do things. They're used to having at least 20-minute matches.
At least 30. And as far as these matches sometimes go, like War Games in a half hour or whatever that is, so it'd be interesting to see. Hopefully the title matches aren't that long, as in, the Universal and WWE, and I still think it's going to go 3.5 hours, the main show.
Yeah.
But up next, the United States Champion AJ Styles, North American Champ Roderick Strong, and Shinsuke fucking Nakamura.
Again, this is a match that could melt your eyes. We've had the anticlimax of AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Will their past rivalries come to head again? They're on separate shows. They haven't really faced off for a little while, but I'm sure there's still a bit of hatred between them two. Throwing Roderick Strong, who is a brilliant all-round performer as well. All three of them have got completely differing styles. You've got AJ Styles with a bit of old school, but he kind of mixes it up. Roderick Strong, his backbreakers are going to be great, and obviously with Nakamura, the king of strong style, it's just going to be a really good kind of mix of talents in there. And again, it should be an absolute barn burner given the time.
Have they dropped the ball with Nakamura? Is he ever going to be a main eventer again, or will he, next time his contract comes round, will he say to himself, I might go back to Japan? Have they kind of lost out on what could have been with him?
I don't think so, no. Again, I think it's something that they're keeping under their hat. They're keeping a closed lid on Nakamura, just like a few other wrestlers. They're not, they're not pushing them straight away. They're not chucking them over to main event, but they're not giving them straight up into the limelight. They're giving them, right, you've had a little taste, got a good fan reception, we're going to bring you back down a little bit, and then, when the time's right, we'll strike, and it could be something fantastic.
Yeah, and I think tonight, again, like I said, with time, I've got a horrible feeling they're going to be rushing through this. But AJ Styles has been, I won't say a great United States champion. He's been good, but it's going to give, it's been given to him after what he did with Smackdown for a couple of years. And AJ Styles with a club, they're kind of just treading water at the moment. They need something a little bit more. Hopefully tonight will be the springboard to it. And then we've got the men's traditional Survivor Series elimination match.
Again, I don't see how Raw can't do this. Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Kevin Owens, and Drew McIntyre. that is a team that both of our wet dreams are made of.
I mean, it is a monster team, you know. When you think about everything that's involved in it, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, just that, you throw in Seth Rollins. The question is now, after last night's takeover, where does Kevin Owens' allegiance lie, and will Raw allow him to compete in this match?
Absolutely. You know, will there be fingers pointed? Will he be classed as a weak link? Roman Reigns, Shorty G, Ali, King Baron, and Braun Strowman. I mean, you know, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. You could even chuck Baron Corbin in that. You know, you got three absolute monsters of men. One of them a monster among men. You know, you've got them three that are going to be kind of taking all their hits, and then you've got Shorty G and Ali, kind of with their brilliant technical abilities.
I got a feeling Reigns is going to get caught up with Corbin. Strowman, I'm not sure, but you might see something heroic from maybe Ali tonight coming down. Team NXT has been announced by Shawn Michaels, and that's going to be Tommaso Ciampa, obviously.
Yeah.
Damien Priest, Matt Riddle, bro, Keith Lee, and the NXT UK champion, Walter. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, just having Walter on there as well. Keith Lee, I mean, he put in a very impressive performance on at War Games. You know, you can't take that away from him. It's a very formidable team, you know, especially with Tommaso Ciampa as well.
Yeah, I think with Ciampa leading the line, and hopefully we'll see a Keith Lee moment, Walter will be interested. I still feel, isn't he still undefeated in WWE?
Walter?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't think he's lost, so it'll be interesting to see how he's protected here tonight, whether we see someone interfering or if it's a count out. I would be very surprised if we saw him pinned. But then again, an RKO can put anyone, like you said.
Absolutely, yes. And, you know, Walter's probably one of the few people in this whole thing that hasn't been RKO, so I think Orton needs to add to his RKO count.
Do you see Orton being a sole survivor again? How do you feel this is going tonight?
Of course. Well, I'd love to see Orton as a sole survivor. I'd like to see Raw win this one and Randy Orton being one of the survivors.
Yeah, no, I would. I don't know if I want to see Raw. I want to see performance. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And like I said, what's happened to SmackDown, NXT are kind of the different one in this one. And then we got the women's traditional Survivor Series elimination match.
Yes, Captain Banks with Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross. That doesn't sound like the strongest of teams. I mean, you know, only two of them, Sasha Banks and Nikki Cross, are probably the formidable objects in that. Yes, you have got former WWE Women's Champion Carmella. And Lacey Evans, I mean, she came a bit close and she irritates me. Yeah,
but she has got the women's right. And Dana Brooke might be the kind of the wild card thrown into it in that team. But I think Sasha Banks, we saw her on SmackDown. She led the whole SmackDown roster. That's how much respect the boss has got. So there's no doubt she wants to go into a victory in SmackDown, does she? You know, she wants to get that victory. What about Team Raw, Dan?
Team Raw, you've got Charlotte Flair. I mean, you know, who else? But Sarah Logan, Natalia, and you've got the women's tag team champions, the Bukaki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane.
And you put Charlotte and Asuka on a team, and that's what I'm going to bet. Because I love Asuka anyway, and I always go for it. But with Charlotte involved in that, I can only see a victory for Team Raw. Team NXT, though, is throwing it up, and we've got Rhea Ripley, who's saying it's going to be Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Toni.
So, do you think we're going to see an Io Shirai, Kairi Sane face-off?
I think we will, but I think NXT got problems in itself when you think Bianca Belair and Io Shirai teamed up, but opposite Candice LeRae. We know the beating Candice took last night, and that would be difficult. But again, Asuka involved as well. Will we see something going on there?
Absolutely. Well, will Toni Storm kind of have to act as a peacemaker? I mean, you know, two of these women faced off against another two of these women last night in War Games.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And the thing is with NXT as well, is that most of these women have been associated with it. So when we talk about who you can trust here, everybody's got association. It could be anybody who turns on that. Do you see anybody turning on any teams tonight, any members or anything like that going down?
I think it's always something that kind of it either adds to try and start a storyline or it kind of protects someone in the match. So there is a potential where I have no idea.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a surprise.
Yeah, well, that's always nice to see throughout it. But this whole thing, it does have the potential to be a very good card, depending that they get given good time in the right places.
Yeah, I think without that, I think that is vital here tonight. But W Pay-Per-Views let us down. And after Full Gear last weekend, and of course Takeover last night, Survivor Series tonight has got a lot to live up to. What you expect? What are your hopes and aspirations, Dan? What's your best case scenario tonight? What's your worst case scenario tonight?
My best case scenario is that we get a potential match of the year candidate with Pete Dunne and Adam Cole, because them two they can deliver. Worst case scenario is pretty much anything involving an NXT wrestler gets less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And NXT just get made to look like a complete inferior roster when, everyone knows that it definitely isn't.
And I think that is the thing that's tonight. It's NXT's turn to really show up, and as we've seen already on the kickoff of SmackDown winning, it's going to be quite equal tonight. But who will come out on top and who will have the final say? Is Triple H pulling the strings, here tonight? That's it from the card. What am I hoping for? I'm hoping for a great pay-per-view. A pay-per-view that doesn't feel like a slog. That goes along quickly and gets me invested. Has some great matches and stand-up moments. I can't remember the last time a W pay-per-view had a great match in it. You know what I mean? Like a cracking match. Like a kind of either a classic like 5-star or a match that you go, oh yeah, I could watch that again this week.
Absolutely, but with the inclusion of NXT, I think that is a real possibility tonight.
If there ever was a chance, tonight is it. It's been a great weekend, isn't it? Have you enjoyed doing the live shows now?
I always love doing the live shows. It's you never know what. We have a good mass debate. We play a few little games. We have a laugh. We cover a lot throughout our live shows.
Without a doubt, and we've still got a lot to come, and we're going to talk about our schedule now. And of course, like we said, NXT Takeover War Games will be released on Wednesday, and we can't wait to give you that. We find out who finally won the NXT Prediction League.
Indeed, yes, we got Survivor Series on next Sunday as well, which we're going to be recording straight after the kickoff show.
Yeah, we cannot wait to stay up for another near enough 4 hours to do that for you. And then the 8th of December, we'll bring you WCW Starrcade, one of the last ever WCW events, and it's going to be quite something in December.
Absolutely, and on the 15th, due to popular demand from 3 listeners, we are bringing back the most ridiculous moments. We're going to give you a little teaser of it. When?
Earlier tonight.
Tonight, sorry. I've done so much recording over this weekend, it all merges into one. But yeah, we gave you a little teaser. We gave you 3 ridiculous Survivor Series moments. We're just getting you warmed up for it. We're just easing you in gently, but we've obviously doing a lot of looking into that as well.
Yeah, and then what we're going to do, we're actually going to change up. We're going to have a British special because we are going to go see IPW Undisputed 3 with Joey Ryan. So we'll bring you a very special episode about British wrestling. We might include TLC on there as well. So we leave what everybody knows at WNR. I think this time of year now, everybody should be excited because the WNR podcast kind of, it's just kind of something familiar. It's like a warm pair of shoes, isn't it? Because what have we got coming? We've got the Christmas special on the 22nd.
Yes,
well.
we're going to make our way to our beautiful snow-covered lodge up in the mountains, because we've got a lot of mountains in England, as you well know.
There's fucking loads, and there's one there. Look, see?
That's a molehill. You're making a mountain out of a molehill, James.
We're going to go Christmas cottaging, and we cannot wait. The tree's set up. Dan, of course, is cooking their dinner. And then the 29th, obviously, we're going to have the year-end awards. The WNR Awards, if anybody's ever listened for, what are the WNR Awards, Dan?
Well, we've got a few categories that we go through. Best Wrestler, Best Moment, Johnny Gaga Award for Most Punishment Taken During a Match. There is loads, and throughout the year we keep adding more and more categories. And we kind of... We just get all of our things. We post our votes, and then we kind of decide between the two of us, or we just choose who gets our own personal award for the moment. Yeah. RKO of the year as well as another special award that's close to my heart.
Yeah, we've got so many, and we love this time of year as well, so festive. And then the year-end show, where we got the year-end predictions. A year ago, we locked and put in a vault our predictions for what would happen, and what would happen in WWE and NXT at the end of December. And we always think we do well, and this year we're going to find out, because if anybody does, it's Dan, because it's going to be quite tight this year.
It is going to be very tight, yeah. I mean, we kind of try and predict what the main events are going to be for each of the big four pay-per-views. There's little things, who's going to be holding what titles. We got 3 various predictions. We got a surprise wrestler leaving, surprise wrestler joining. There is so much that we've kind of bet on, and we've got a lot of points still up for grabs. So, it may seem quite far apart at the end of the year, but these points may be the difference maker, and it is a big forfeit this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, the forfeit is going to be announced at the year end and done, because we'll see what happens. And then early in the year as well, January 4th, we'll catch up with NXT. We'll have NXT update, catching up with the US version since the takeover here tonight, and the UK version as we go towards NXT takeover UK Blackpool 2, and of course we're looking forward to that. So that is basically it. Dan, there's nothing else to say this week before we head into Survivor Series?
No, just I hope it's a very good show and it is enjoyed by all.
So don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at WWE Network Review, or
at Vince McDan WWE.
I'm at _Rollers across all the Google platforms. Send us an email at the WNR Podcast, and follow us on Instagram at the WNR Podcast there as well. We're on Facebook.
Yes, Facebook, and come and find our page and give us a like with a WWE Network Review Podcast, name to be changed soon. Or you can come and find me and add me as a friend. I am Vince McDan.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the WNR Podcast. Got the latest clips going on there. We've got some cracking stuff on there, like the Young Bucks, and of course soon we're going to have Joey Ryan as well, which will be exciting. And of course you can follow podcast up on YouTube, so to the place like SoundCloud
On your phone.
and we're live now on Spreaker Radio. Thanks very much for listening to us over this weekend. And like we said, we're going to move on to bigger and better things, and next week we're going to change it up as well. Of course, this is WWE, but we'd like to celebrate all of professional wrestling now, and that's including everything that we've watched in the last 48-hour period. But that is it, and like I say, NXT TakeOver will be out on Wednesday. But thanks everybody. I have been Jay Frozen, and as always, I was joined by
Dan White.
Bye everybody, and thank you very much.
Bye.